Uh-oh. Good Monday morning, YouTube. How you guys doing today? Hey, D1. Thank you for covering this, Miss Olivia, because it's not getting any coverage. That Saltine tried it. Yes, honey, he tried it, and we're gonna talk about it, girl. Hey, allegedly, how you doing? Hey, Red Snapper, how you doing? Good morning, everybody. You guys in the bushes. Thank you guys for joining me this morning. Especially, I wanted to talk about this. I hope you guys had a nice Valentine's Day yesterday. And everything. I know I did. I hope you guys had a nice weekend. This morning I want to come on and talk about something a little different than what's going on in our little section of YouTube. You guys know that I love entertainment news, and today I want to talk about this subject in particular because it was just Valentine's Day yesterday, and because it's Black History Month. There's a lot going on, okay, in the entertainment world as far as the Bachelor franchise goes, right? So I don't know if you guys ever pay any attention to the franchise, the Bachelor, the Bachelorette, that whole thing, right? I never really paid any attention to it until a couple of years ago when they announced that there would be the first black bachelorette, the first black person to appear as the lead on the in the Bachelor franchise, and it was a black woman by the name of Rachael Lindsay, right? That was the first black bachelor slash bachelorette in Bachelor Nation history. Evidently, this show has been. Hey, Ronnie Q, the show has been going on since like for 13 or 14 seasons. 13 or 14 years the Bachelor show. And if you guys don't look at it, like I said, I've never really looked at it because I felt like that show was geared, not towards, people of my skin color, right? So evidently, though, a lot of people. Oh, and this also is a good, conversation to have in this Black History Month, right? So anyway, um, as far as the Bachelor goes, that whole franchise, Bachelor, Bachelorette, I never paid any attention to it. Like I said, I never felt like that show was like, I couldn't connect with it. I connected better with something like The Flavor of Love or something like that, right? Okay. So anyway, a couple of years ago, there was, like I said, this girl by the name of Rachael Lindsay, black woman by the name of Rachael Lindsay. She was dubbed the first black bachelorette, right? Now, like I said, this show has been going on for 13 or 14 years. And I've just never been into it. I didn't see anybody on it that looked like me, right? So, but I started paying attention to it because prior to that, people had started talking about the Bachelor franchise and its lack of diversity, right? And evidently there were several black people that were into the Bachelorette franchise, and they didn't see anybody that looked like them, right? And they had never seen any black lead roles, any black bachelor or bachelorettes, right? And people start talking about it on the internet. Hey, Cloud, how you doing? They interviewed the Bachelor I think his first name is David. Yes, first name is Matt. Yesterday on ABC7 in New York City about the host and the woman. Yeah, Cloud, we're gonna get into it, honey, because it's surrounding racism, diversity, the entertainment industry, this franchise in particular. I mean, it's a very good conversation. And I don't think it's getting the coverage that it needs to get, I guess, because it's just some random show. And so yeah, we got a Cloud. Could you get rid of that? I got a troll called Mustard Seed. Could you get rid of that troll? And so anyway, okay, so like I said, however, a couple of years ago, hey, let's be real, hey Tamika, I started paying attention to it because it announced that they would have a black bachelorette by the name of Rachael Lindsay, right? So I wanted to, look at it. I'm like, a black bachelor, and this sort of franchise, right? And wow, but the reason why they premiered Rachael Lindsay, they premiered her for a couple of reasons, right? But I think when they premiered Rachael Lindsay, I don't think that they thought that Rachael was going to be as formidable as she has been since appearing. Actually, she appeared on the season before that on a man by the name of Brian Nick Vial, Caucasian man. She was on his show and she was one of the finalists. Now, catch the setup. Now, prior to that, there hadn't been any people of color, that represented any significance on that show, right? But when people started crying about diversity and is the show racist, is it geared only to a Caucasian audience? They started saying all these things online, Bachelor Nation, black people and white people started speaking up about the diversity issues of the show. So up popped Rachael Lindsay on Nick Vial's season of The Bachelor. He's some white guy. He had been on the show a couple of times. He made Rachael Lindsay one of his finalists. Check the setup. Now, this is reality TV, scripted reality TV, in my opinion. So after she's one of the finalists, the next season of The Bachelorette, she's been dubbed the first black bachelorette, right? So finally, after all of this, a black woman, has a lead role. She's a black bachelorette, right? And so when you get into Rachael Lindsay's season, she said that she wanted to she agreed to be the first black bachelorette because she wanted to bring about some kind of diversity in the show and all of this and all that, right? But the reason why Rachael Lindsay the reason why her presence has been a constant source of stress for Chris Harrison, which is an executive producer in the Bachelor franchise, is because I think they had Rachael mistaken. So she's this black girl, right? So a couple of years back, she was the black bachelorette. She got into her season was full of drama. They didn't highlight her love story. It only surrounded drama between her and this guy named Peter Kraus. Peter Kraus was the guy that she wanted to pick, white guy, and he pretty much played her. And she really liked him. She wanted him to be the bachelor. But come to find out, he was stringing her along simply because he wanted to be, he's playing the long game. He wanted to be the black bachelor, right? So instead of them showing the love story between her and the guy that is now her husband, Brian Abasolo, they pretty much focused on the drama between her and Peter Kraus, right? And so Rachael did not appreciate how they did her season, right? Because she was pretty much all into this guy named Peter Kraus, and like I said, he strung her along. He said everything that she wanted to hear. And ultimately he said, I can't give you a ring, but we can date, and all of this and all that. Later found out, because the internet investigators started investigating this Peter Kraus guy that strung Rachael Lindsay along. Come to find out, he had been wanting to be the bachelor, a part of Bachelor Nation since high school. And so this was his way of a come up, right? So that's why he strung her along. And it was so controversial that, you know, he was slated to be the next Bachelor after Rachel's show, but Rachael was not having it, right? Because she know that he strung her along, and it was a big thing. And I don't know what went on in the background, but to this day, the Peter Kraus guy that was stringing Rachael along, you know, has not appeared on The Bachelor, right? And so it was a big controversy about that, right? So fast forward to the first black male bachelor by the name of Matt James. Now, this is where the story gets interesting. Now, it was interesting about Rachael, but Rachael, her involvement in this story is also very interesting because Rachael, I really felt like she felt like the whole franchise pretty much did her wrong. Do you see what I'm saying? And Rachael was also playing a long game, right? And so I think you never mess with a woman's heart, and especially a woman scorned. I felt like Rachael felt like she was embarrassed. I felt like she felt like the franchise embarrassed her. You know, as a black woman, it embarrassed her, you know, as to her choice of mate. All of the other bachelors and bachelorettes, pretty much the focal point is on the love story. And in Rachel's case, it was you know, it was focused on the drama and the fact that this Peter Kraus guy pretty much played her. Do you see what I'm saying? Played with her emotions, played with her mentals. You know, they've got a show after she chose the winner, her now husband, Brian. They really tried to make him look bad. He had appeared on a reality show some years prior to The Bachelor, where it was some kind of cheesy Flavor of Love type show. He was on there because that they made it seem like he was just some kind of, you know, random guy, some tool of a guy, somebody that was playing her also. But, you know, and she didn't feel like that was fair because they really had a love story, right? In her mind, they really had a love story, but they, like I said, they only focused on the Peter Kraus guy, right? And she didn't appreciate that. And I really think Rachael set out to get them back. Now, Rachel Lindsay, you know, she is a black woman, like I said. Now, she is a black woman as opposed to her mom's black, her dad's black, her father is a federal judge. She's a lawyer. I mean, she fit the criteria, right? I think they thought that she was, you know, a white identified black woman because of her dating choices. Like I said, she had been on the Caucasians Bachelor guy, Nick Vial. He's this white guy. She was on that show. She was in the finalists. You get Rachael on there. Like I said, you know, her father's a judge, a federal judge. She's a lawyer. Her mom's black, though she is, you know, a black American. Now, Matt James, however, his mom is Caucasian. He is clearly white identified. This it's a lot going on. He said, I'm like you, Auntie. I normally don't follow the Bachelor franchise. I used to watch Flavor of Love and For the Love of Ray. Yeah, that's my sort of thing. You know what I mean, Claude? I love those shows, you know, but the whole Bachelor Nation thing, that's never been my thing until Rachel Lindsay. And I wanted to see how they was gonna play it out. Because anytime that and I started looking at that show, I looked at Rachel's season with Nick Vial. I had to backtrack that, and it was just cringeworthy, you know, because this is clearly it has a target audience, and the target audience is not a black audience. Okay, it is not the target out the target audience is clearly Caucasian, right? But because so many people started shouting about diversity or inclusion when it comes to black people in the show, because it had a lot of black fans in Black Bachelor Nation, because of that, you know, it was Rachel's, you know, turn. Okay, so they thought Rachael was white identified, right? Now Rachel got upset. I looked at her whole season. The guy did string her along, you know, until the end. At one point in time in the show, you pick like the final four, and you go see the families of the final four guys that she was, you know, choosing from. And his family did not even want to meet with her, you know, initially or something like that. It was a lot going on. Then she finally talked to the mom, and then, hey, Stephanie Horton, and then the mom said that he's not ready to get married and all of this and all of that, right? And so come to the end of the show, she picks Brian, the guy that she's married to now, and he's like he's like maybe Brazilian or, you know, Latino, one of the, you know, this is his ethnicity, right? He's not, you know, like Anglo, you know, he's like maybe, you know, white Brazilian or something like that, right? So that's the guy that she picked. They didn't show her their love story at all. They made it seem like she picked him. He was a second choice, and she said he was a second choice. But like I really at the time when I was watching it, until I started delving into it, because I didn't see their love story, her and her now husband Brian. I just saw the drama with her and Peter, and it felt like that Brian was the second choice, right? And Rachel explains why. She was upset. They have this after the rose ceremony, when they kind of, reflect on what happened on the show, and her and Peter get up there talking, and she's clearly frustrated with him, and the whole situation by this point, right? So Rachel gets on there on the final rose, and she says, well, I don't think that this franchise is for you. Now, mind you, the guy has said, the Peter guy that strung her along said that he wanted to be on the show. Had been wanting to be a contestant since high school, right? So he's playing the long game. He played with her heart. They showed on one episode of the show, he's got all these black friends and all this and all that, right? Well, 2 black guys that are his friends. She did meet the friends. She didn't meet the family. I don't know what that was for. And I'm thinking, well, okay, he knew how to play her, right? They done schooled him on the situation, right? Because he wants to be the Bachelor, right? So all that happened. Rachel is upset. Rachel was not having it. Like I said, I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but he was not going to be she was going to make it hard for him to become the next Bachelor. But they did try to get him to become to be the next Bachelor. He felt like that, I think that the guy's super narcissistic, and he didn't want to play ball with him because they weren't giving him enough money and they weren't catering to his whims. So that kind of passed by, right? A lot of people on social media was upset with Rachael Lindsay. They felt like Rachel did him wrong because he got on there. Now, he's the one that done her wrong. But after they were talking, after it was all over, he got on there and said, he felt like Rachel, the female, this black female woman, was attacking him. She did not get loud with him. She was not attacking him, in my opinion. She was just, pretty much calling him out in a very even keeled tone on his mess. Like, I know you played me. Basically, those are my words, right? And so he said on the show that he felt attacked. So, honey, social media took and ran with it, right? So they start saying Rachel attacked him. Rachel, the reason why he ain't gonna be the next Bachelor, all this and all that, when it was not her fault, it was his fault. But because it was a black woman, of course she had to be an angry black woman, all this and all that, right? And so I think that Rachel stuck with this franchise because she knew it was a lot of shade going on when it came to diversity, and she has been very vocal since her season concerning diversity and black people on the Bachelor franchise, right? The Bachelor, Bachelorette, Chris Harrison, and all that, right? So fast forward to Matt James, who has been named the first black male Bachelor, right? Let's talk about Matt James, all right? So once again, we have a prop. There are rumors circulating about racism in one of his finalists by the name of little white girl from Georgia by the name of Rachael Kirkconnell, right? So around about 7 weeks ago, rumors started floating around that this girl was racist, right? And so, like I said, Matt James, his mom is white. He's clearly white identified. I mean, and then he did an interview saying that prior to that coming out about Rachael Kirkconnell going to some kind of plantation party that has supposedly been banned by her sorority. There's a lot going on with that, right? We're gonna get into it. But I think the thing is coming up now because they're closing in further on the 4 finalists, right? And rumor has it that he actually chose Rachael Kirkconnell, which is allegedly racist because of her affiliations and all of this and all that. A TikTok video came out for one of Rachael Kirkconnell's, the white girl that they're saying Matt Bourne ultimately chooses in the end, saying that, Rachel, you remember when you used to bully me in school because I wanted to date black guys? All this stuff has surfaced about her, right? The plantation party pic has surfaced. Her very sorority that she pledged. They have a racist history. It's a lot going on with the situation. So raises the issue of racism once again, right? So Rachel Lindsay does an interview with Chris Harrison, right, who is the host. He's the announcer, whatever you call it, of Bachelor Nation, right? He's also an executive producer, right? So he does this interview concerning Rachael Kirkconnell and her racist past, right? And so he's on there defending the girl, and it sparked a firestorm. She hadn't spoke out. People had been talking about it on social media. They had been speculating if the Bachelor franchise was holding her, pretty much muzzling her mouth and not letting her speak out on it. Honey, we're gonna do a reaction video. I got some audio about it. At least I know I'm talking about it, but we're gonna listen to what actually happened, right? So, but before her apology, so she went on to apologize because people are speculating that she won, and I can imagine her being a winner. Like, it would match with this guy Matt James. Like I said, he did an interview and saying he didn't want to be pressured into choosing a black woman because he's the first black bachelor, and all of this and all that going in. That this guy is not looking for a black woman. It's just how it is. Rachel wasn't even looking for a black man. Okay, even though whatever her situation is, she's speaking out about, Bachelor Nation and diversity, but still, come on, Rachel, really. And so anyway, Klaus said ABC is owned by Disney, and anyone who's done the homework knows how racist Disney company is. Of course, you can say that about 99% of the, true, Klaus, true, true. But I don't think, but Rachel Lindsay, the first black bachelorette, she had a vendetta because she feel like she feel like they embarrassed her, and she feel like Peter Kraus strung her along, and even though she was strung along, they still wanted him to be the bachelor, right? And so I think that Rachel Lindsay has been biding her time in order to pay Chris Harrison and them back. And she pretty much got her. She's been vindicated. She's got her revenge, all right? And we're going to listen to it. That's why we're doing this video today. I was like, wow, Rachel played the long game. She played them. They thought they was going to play her at first, but she ended up playing them, okay? I was like, wow, okay. Talk about sit back and wait. All right. I was like, ooh, child, come through, Rachel. And so anyway, there's this whole situation brewing, like I said, between this girl that people are saying that he chose, and I can see him choosing her. Now, there's a light-skinned black woman on there that people will want him to pick. Her name was what was her name? I'm gonna pull up her picture. And she was perfect for him. But I think that when you go in saying that I don't want to be pressured to pick a black woman because I'm the first black bachelor, given his history, his mom is Caucasian and he's got all these white friends. You pretty much know off the bat that I think her name was Michelle. He's not going to pick this black woman, even though on paper she's perfect for him. She's a teacher. She's active in the community. He's supposed to have some kind of nonprofit organization. He's a real estate guy, but he's got some kind of nonprofit organization where he works with people in the kids in the black community or something like that. She's a teacher. She talks about the work that she does in the community with the black kids, and all this and all that, right? So on paper, they're perfect for one another. She's athletic. He's athletic. The only thing is he's white identified, and you can kind of tell that. And like I said, every time I see one of these shows, even this show, like I watched Rachel's season, it was cringeworthy. I watched, I try to catch up on Matt Bourne's season. It's cringeworthy. Okay, anytime I see, a large amount of black men or even a few or black women on this Bachelor Nation franchise, it's cringeworthy. I mean, like, oh my God, y'all are absolute props. How can y'all sign up to be on this show? It's crazy. Like, don't you realize what's going on? But then I had to realize that, what? This is entertainment. This is scripted reality. People go on these shows not necessarily to be chosen, but to, for some kind of publicity, right? And so maybe I'm thinking that's why, some of the black people that join are not necessarily wanting to be coupled up. They're just wanting the publicity. They just want, their time to shine, right? Because I know there's one pretty black girl on Matt Bourne's season. She had this short haircut, it's a natural haircut. Her hair was short. It was either a Chinese or a Caucasian woman started picking on her about her shortcut hair. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow, really? Yeah, y'all doing all that? And it was just a lot going on this season. This season was real ratchet. It was worse than The Flavor of Love. There was one Caucasian woman, another, they said that there was bullying on the show because one Caucasian contestant said that another Caucasian contestant was an escort, and all that. She said she wasn't an escort. And they didn't even have to, I don't think that they have to put that out. Some people are saying that she has a defamation of character lawsuit because they didn't have to publicize that woman called her an escort, okay? And she said she wasn't. Oh, it was a lot going on, right? The whole show was just raunchy and raggedy. But I think that it's come to a head. And I'm thinking that this season could be the last season, okay? Because there's so much going on surrounding the Chris Harrison, this executive producer, and this interview that he did with Rachel Lindsay, which he is pretty much trying to protect the racist activities of one of these finalists, the one named Rachael Kirkconnell, right? The little white girl that went to the plantation slave parties or whatever, right? And so, honey, it's just a lot. But anyway, we're going to listen to some audio and, because we like to do a reaction video, so we're going to do reaction to all of this stuff. And like I said, I thought that this is a very good conversation, in my opinion. It's not something that we talk about, like I said, once again, over in our section all the time, but it is entertainment news. You guys know I like entertainment news, especially something like this, because it's really very unfortunate, all the stuff that's coming out of these people's mouths. I'm like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Is he for real? So first, we got to talk about Rachel Lindsay first, right? We have to talk about Rachel Lindsay, because it plays into the Matt Bourne situation, right? But I'm going to share my screen with you guys. And let's see. Yeah, Klaus said, yeah. We already know what his mind said. Absolutely. I didn't want to be pressured to date a black woman. Yeah, code for I needs me a busted. But absolutely. And then make it so bad, Klaus. The Matt James guy, when you look at him, but not only did we go in knowing that he was going to not choose a black woman by what he said, him not wanting to be pressured to choose a black woman, we know, he was shut down to even the possibility of any type of relationship, with any kind of black woman. We knew that. Even this Michelle guy, which is unfortunate, I wish he would have opened this, because in my mind, they're a really good match. But his mindset is not, he made a beeline for the whitest, most racist chick in the room. Okay? I'm like, wow, that says a lot about him, right? And the mentality of it all. And even though his mom is white, he looks like a black man. I'm gonna pull up the show. I'm gonna let y'all look at him in case y'all haven't seen him. He doesn't even look biracial, in my opinion. He said his father is African, and of course his mom is white. He is he a whole Barack Obama without being Barack Obama. He is not ADOS. Just let me say that. Okay, well, have a great day, Miss O. Okay, Chloe Lover, take care of yourself. Okay, thank you for joining me. And so anyway, let me pull up his picture so we can see. I think I have to share the screen here. I want you guys to see this guy. The thing has changed, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this right. We don't need to share the audio. I just want to share the this. Okay, let me pull up the guy so you guys can see him. Take a look at him so we can know who we're talking about. Was that Rachel and Peter? Rachel Kirkconnell. Okay, I don't know what I'm gonna pull up here, but we're gonna see. This might not be the right one. 2021. This might be the right one. Hold on, guys. I got so much pulled up. I don't know if it's the right one or not. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. So, let me change my screen so I can see what you guys are seeing. Hold on. Because I know I can't tell. Gotta cut down this audio. Hold on. Let's see. Gotta cut down this audio. Uh-oh. Okay, so popped up. Okay, so this picture right here from one day ago, I don't know if you guys can see the arrow. This is Matt Barnes. He's got the dreadlocks. He's in the blue right here. This is him to the left, right? Oh, you can see my thing. This is Matt Barnes when he was younger. I guess in high school or college. This is his mom. This is him as a child, and this is his dad. And he said that his dad was African. His mom is clearly Caucasian. He said that he came from a broken home type of environment. You know, whatever that means. I can't imagine. Yeah, he doesn't. You know, yeah, he looks like a black man to me. You know what I mean? So who knows what he had? He came from a small town yeah, no, he don't, Stephanie. He don't look white at all. You're right about that. You know, you know, a small town in North Carolina. So, you know, you can imagine whatever it is that he done went through in his life or whatever. You know, it's a lot going on. He's in the South, for goodness sakes, right? And so over here to the right, this is the young woman that I was talking about, Michelle. She's got on a black shirt. Michelle would have been perfect for him. I wish he would have opened his heart. So if he was serious about finding a mate, this on paper, this woman right here, she is perfect for him on paper. Do you see what I'm saying? Rachel was 100% right in exposing Chris. Yeah, oh yeah, she been wanting to do that for a long time, Claude. Oh yes, she was. In my opinion, I'm not a fan of it either. But she didn't deserve the mistreatment. Yes, she did not deserve the mistreatment that she received when it comes to the Bachelor franchise. And Rachel has, you know, she affiliated herself with them for years, in my opinion, waiting to have the chance to pay them the whole franchise back. Because she said in this interview that we're going to listen to, after her contract is up, she is done with them. She's not dealing with it anymore. Okay, but she was waiting for this. Her revenge is sweet. So this one in the middle right here, this female in the middle, this is the female that all the controversy is surrounding. This little white girl right here, her name is Rachael Kirkconnell, right? And she is at the center of all the drama, okay? She has, a couple of years ago, in 2018, she attended her fraternity, her sorority is, the name of her sorority is Kappa Alpha Order. Kappa Alpha Order is closely associated with the KKK. They say that their spiritual advisor is Robert E. Lee, the first Klansman, you know, and she comes from a small town in Georgia. They showed pictures of her, you know, liking pics of a couple of her friends standing in front of a Confederate flag. One of her friends got on TikTok and said, "Do you remember bullying me, you know, when we were in school because I wanted to date a black guy?" I mean, like, it's a whole history there, right? And we're going to discuss what the plantation party is, right? So we're going to get to that. So anyway, this is the one that people are speculating he's going to pick right here. And I really think that he did pick her as a final. I think she won it, right? He was clearly attracted to this girl, you know, off the rip. You see what I'm saying? It's a lot going on with that. His mentality surrounding that. It's a lot, right? And this girl right here, the one in the wedding dress, they did a photo shoot with him and a lot of the girls in the wedding dress. It wasn't only her. Is that she might be in the final three. This might be the final three women right here, right? And so, but I think that he is actually going to pick this girl, on which they are speculating if she's racist or not. You see what I'm saying? And so she subsequently has apologized 6 or 7 weeks later after all of this came out. And so it's a lot going on. So anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a visual of who we're talking about. So this is Matt, the Black Bachelor, in case nobody's seen him before, right? This is the drama right here. You know, she went to a whole plantation party, all this and all that, right? Her sorority is rooted in racism. She since apologized. It's a lot going on. And this is Michelle. She's also, in my opinion, one of the finalists. She was better suited for him, and I wish that if he was serious, he would have opened his heart to this young woman right here. Because on paper they would have made her. She's athletic, he's athletic. It's a lot going on with this dude, though, but it's a lot. He got a whole identity crisis going on, right? So anyway, I want you guys. We're gonna play some audio. of an interview that Rachael Lindsay, the first Black Bachelorette, did concerning this issue. She's a commentator on the entertainment news show called Extra, right? So she interviewed Chris Harrison concerning this whole issue, talking about Rachael Kirkconnell and all the racist stuff that's come up of recent. So she interviewed him about that. So let me find this interview of Chris Harrison talking about all the drama that's going to come about, and we'll go from there, right? But like I said, you kind of got to start with Rachael Lindsay. You see what I'm saying? The first Black Bachelorette, right? You kind of have to start with that, right? And so, yeah, let me find it. Hold on. 1 second. And we're going to let you listen to some of what Chris Harrison had to say about it. He's defending her. And it's a lot going on with that whole interview. Like, he just, like, let it loose, right? So it's a 13-minute interview. And I guess I can leave this up here. I can't see. I'm going to have to take it down in case Cloud leaves because I don't want no trolls to come in. But I wanted to keep this up so y'all can hear who they're talking about. Where is Rachael? So in an interview, we're talking about Rachael and Chris Harrison. Let me see if I can find one of. Okay, so this is Chris Harrison. This is who was speaking on the Extra interview with Rachael Lindsay. This is him, this guy right here. And let me see if I can find one of Rachael Lindsay. These are just some of the people on his season. They're supposed to be his best friend. This guy right here is his best friend. They're supposed to be roommates or something like that. And I don't know. That's the girl that was bullied about her hair. This one with the short haircut, she's got the yellow dress on. I'm sure my thing is not scrolling up as fast as it should. Let me see if I can find a picture of Rachael Lindsay in case you guys don't know who that is. No. I'm gonna have to go to another screen. But anyway, that's him. So let me stop this. So this is the Bachelor, the first Black male Bachelor. So I'm about to stop this. Go back over here to the StreamYard. Okay, hold on. And yeah. I want to show you a picture of Rachael. Let me share the screen again. In case you guys don't know who I'm talking about. Quickly ate crow, Cloud, and she quickly ate crow on Claudia and Vivica, them show. Oh, thank you, Cloud. Thank you. Cloud said, hold on. Tamika says, I say fudge him. He don't have to worry about me stopping by, helping to change his tire or use my roadside assistance. She said, hell, I'm a roll by with my window down saying, have slutty Becky help. Up, Chad, that's what he get. You're right. That's what he get. You know what I mean? That's what he get. And I think they're rumored to still be together. Like, she was like, is it racism or ignorance? I was ignorant, but I'm not racist. I'm like, girl, that's a whole lie. Child, check your resume. Check your own resume, okay? Cloud said Rachael was 100% right in exposing Chris Harrison. Oh, I read that. But yeah, you're right, Cloud. I agree. And so anyway, let me try to find a picture of Rachael Lindsay and Chris Harrison, because this is where it starts. This is, I hit the wrong thing. Shoot. Hold on. I'm supposed to hit the share button. Because we got to start at the genesis of the situation. The genesis of the situation is Rachael Lindsay and how she was treated on her show. This is the problem. This is why Rachael was not binging on Chris Harrison or nobody over there in Bachelor Nation. Okay? This is the issue. Okay. I don't know if I want to do that or this. I might want to do this one. So I found an article also. Let me pull up the article real fast. Let's see. Okay. Hold on. Before we do the Chris Harrison interview, I want to pull up that article to show you guys. I had so much stuff pulled up on this. It's a lot going on. Okay, the article came up. Okay. So this is the article. concerning the issue. So the name of this article is Chris Harrison's botched the latest Bachelor racism controversy. Like I said, there have been diversity issues, racism issues swirling about the Bachelor franchise for years, right? Controversy. Now he's trying to apologize, right? So first, so this is the one that we're talking about, Rachael Kirkconnell, this female right here. If you guys can see her, this is the one with the racist past, the sorority, and all of this and all that. The plantation party that her sorority held. Just a lot going on with that, right? Hey Esther, how you doing? Gee, I miss. Oh, please do a reaction. I haven't seen it, Esther. I'm talking about this though. I don't want to. Well, see, I got tired of time. We get tired of. There's no drama in this sector to me right now. So, this is my go-to, my entertainment news. Hey NYW, hey girl, Uncle Cloud, you ain't lying about Kiki. I don't know what's going on with Kiki White. Cloud gonna have to tell me about that. I don't know if you remember the show R&B Divas. You know Kiki's bad. It's crazy. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So anyway, guys, so this is the female right here. The female of controversy, right? And like I said, he made a beeline right for this female right here. Okay? He had to choose the most Caucasian, most racist chick in the room, okay? Because you can't tell me that they don't look up the bios on these people. You know what I mean? I think it was, it seems like Chris Harrison really begrudges when he has to deal with black people on the show. This diversity issue, it keeps coming up. Rachel Lindsay, however, is not going to let it go, but it really bothers him. That is the reason why he pretty much went off on an interview that he did with Rachel Lindsay the other day, right? And so it's a lot going on with that. Let me try to scroll down. I'm trying to find a picture of Rachel Lindsay. But this is his apology, and we'll get to that after we realize what it is that he said. Let y'all hear what he said, right? I was like, oh, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Oh, no, he didn't. But you see, okay, y'all see this right here? This is the interview that we're fixing to listen to. Let's scroll down. I want to show y'all this. This right here. This is the issue. The host, Chris Harrison. He's talking to Rachel Lindsay, right? She's the first black bachelorette, right? So this is the interview he did concerning the situation with Rachael Kirkconnell and her plantation party, or her Old South party, and her Kappa Alpha sorority, and all of this and all that, right? So we're going to listen to audio of this interview. And this interview is the reason why he had to apologize, okay? Not only to Rachel Lindsay, but you know how they make those, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was being so racially insensitive. Even though you've had this issue of race and diversity going on in Bachelor Nation for years, even though you hired a whole diversity team, even though all of that, you still didn't know that you was being racially insensitive. Okay? Right, Chris Harrison? Okay. All right. So I'm gonna leave this picture right here, and we're gonna listen to the audio of his interview. All right. Let's see here. Hold on one second. I don't need that. I need this. Okay, so this is the interview. I'm sure I'm gonna get a commercial. Let me get past this commercial. So they're talking about the racist, inflammatory things that have popped up about the current frontrunner of the first Black Bachelor, Matt Bourne's season, right? So this is Chris Harrison on that. Rachel Lindsay said that this interview was so inflammatory that they couldn't even play this on TV. They had to leave this online. Okay, that is how inflammatory this interview is, right? So let's listen.
Rachael Kirkconnell and the allegations attached to her.
A couple of things. First and foremost, I don't know. I haven't talked to Rachael about it. And this is, again, where we all need to have a little grace, a little understanding, a little compassion, because I've seen some stuff online. Again, this judge, jury, executioner thing where people are just tearing this girl's life apart and diving into, like, her parents voting record and what it's unbelievably.
They dove into her parents' voting record because they are forever Trumpsters. They donate large amounts of money to Donald Trump, and all this and all that. That's why they dove into her voting record. They dove into her history because of her classmate, another white girl, says she bullied her in school about wanting to date black guys. She's a member of the Kappa Alpha Order. She's attended a old South plantation party, celebrating the antebellum South, and and all of this and all of that, and slavery and all of this and all that, right? So anyway, that's why they dove into her past, and Chris Harrison is clearly upset about this. So anyway, let's listen to what else he says.
Alarming to watch this. I haven't heard Rachael speak on this yet, and until I actually hear this woman have a chance to speak, who am I to say any of this? I saw a picture of her at a sorority party 5 years ago, and that's it. Like, boom, like, okay, well, this girl is in this book now, and she's now in this group, and I'm like, really? Okay, well, there goes.
The picture was.
But it wasn't 5 years ago. Let's continue.
From 2018 at an old South antebellum party. So I think, when you
hold that
that's not
under
a
the
good
lens.
look. It's not a good look.
No, it's not a good. Well, Rachael, is it a good look in 2018 or is it not a good look in 2021?
It's
Because
not
there's
a
a big
good look
difference.
ever, because she's celebrating the old South. If I went to that party, what would I represent at that party?
I don't.
Let me answer that. If Rachel Lindsay would have went to that party, she would have represented a slave. Okay, because it is a plantation party. Okay, celebrating the antebellum slavery South. Okay, so that is why she asked that question. And listen to what he says in response to what she just said. Right?
I don't disagree with you. You're 100% right in 2021. That was not the case in 2018. Again, I'm not defending Rachael.
Like, what does he mean it's not the case in 2018? If 2018, if Rachel Lindsay would have went to this antebellum the plantation party, she still would have been representative of a slave. That would have been, she wouldn't have been able to wear one of those bell dresses or something like that. She would have to wear a potato sack or whatever it was that the slaves' clothes were made out of. So what is he saying? You see what I'm saying? We have had a discussion concerning race in this country since the inception of slavery. So he's placating her. It's ridiculous. Oh, it would have been okay for her to go to this party in 2018, but not 2021. I disagree with that. Now, he knows that this is a lie. Okay, I don't know why he's going there, but he's clearly frustrated. And I'm thinking, is he a Trump supporter as well? Like, what's going on? So anyway, let's continue.
Know that, I don't know, 50 million people did that in 2018 between, it's like that was a type of party that a lot of people went to. And again, I'm not defending it. I didn't go to it. We are not looking under the same lens. And that is, again, the grace and the compassion, the understanding. With this girl at, I don't know how old she would have been back then, have thought, historically, this mansion stood for this. Guys, it's not really that woke that we're here. We need to have the understanding
So he's saying that Rachel, so this is excuse for Rachael Kirkconnell going to the plantation party, right? She didn't know what was going on with the party. She was just some little girl at a party. When you understand the cultural significance of what it is that you're doing, especially living in the South, especially living in the Georgia, and it ain't like she was 11 and 12 years old. This is her Kappa Alpha sorority, and as a matter of fact, the Kappa Alpha Order, they suspended these types of parties. At least these, being visible to the public anyway, right? Because it has a history. The Kappa Alpha Order is tied to the KKA. There's a history of this type of racism going on, right? And so anyway, let's continue. So he's not being truthful here at all, as opposed to he's saying like the conversation of in 2018, we were not talking about slavery in such a derogatory way in 2018 like we are now in 2020, when just a year before that, Rachel Lindsay had been on your show. Like, what are you talking about? But anyway, let's continue.
Passion of this history and what this stood for, what these people who own this mansion stood for. My guess, these girls got dressed up and went to a party and had a great time. They were 18 years old. Now, does that make it okay? I don't know, Rachel. You tell me. But where is this lens we're holding up, and was that lens available, and were we all looking through it in 2018? I don't know. I don't have these answers.
I think that's the problem is we weren't, you're right, we weren't looking through those lenses, and we should have been. And just because it was a popular party,
wrong.
and just because it's a popular party, doesn't necessarily make it right. And you are right, and I believe you're right in the sense that, maybe there should be some, understanding of, like, not everybody knows everything. Right. And I think that's what people are learning or learned in 2020 or started to learn. I think, though, with this situation with Rachael, I think what's frustrating, and you said it yourself, you said she hasn't spoken out. You haven't heard from her. And there's nothing that contractually stops her from saying, hey, this isn't true. And I think if it were me and my name was being attached to something that wasn't true, I would be coming out and saying something. I would be, and I think that's what makes it fester a little bit.
Yeah, but it's a slippery slope. I mean, you know this. You're not going to please everybody, and you can't. And you can't answer to everybody who wants to come and attack you. I mean, I saw something that said this person was a registered Republican, therefore they are this. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Are you kidding? Like, how about we just take a step back and you are the problem. I know you don't think you're the problem, but now you are indeed the problem when you say this person voted for this person, therefore they are that. We have to be so careful when we start labeling people. It's just as bad as what that person did. And so, it's like, two wrongs don't make a right here. And when it comes to Rachael, I look at Hannah B and what she did. I look at
Let me stop. Hannah B was also on the one of the seasons of The Bachelor. Now Hannah B, she was exposed for using the N-word a couple of times, right? She went on to apologize on Instagram in one of the Instagram stories, and that apology vanished in 24 hours. So, they called her out for using the N-word repeatedly, right? More than 2 times probably, but they caught her on tape doing it twice, and then she subsequently apologized for it. He's not appreciating that. There's a whole lot going on here, but let's continue.
Let have made mistakes. Again, I am not the woke police. There's plenty of people who will do that for us in this world right now. I don't know. Like, do you
hear? He said he is not the woke police. Okay, man, he is not gonna judge you. Hold another Caucasian accountable for the blatant racist activities as well as comments, because he ain't the woke police. Okay, yeah.
You go tear all those places down and tear up the dirt and dig deep enough that it erases it. I don't know. When you see San Francisco erasing Lincoln and erasing Washington and erasing people because of what they stood for 180 years ago, I don't know. Is that right? Is it
They took down those statues, those very racist statues that were erected pretty much during the civil rights era. Those civil rights of those statues like Lincoln and Washington and a lot of them have been taken down. Even in Memphis, they took one down. I think of Robert E. Lee. They took them down because they symbolize racism. They glorify slavery. Okay, and that's why those statues have been removed. And then he's being intellectually dishonest when he mentions Lincoln, because Abraham Lincoln is being he's called the great emancipator, like he freed the slaves, like he's some kind of slave Jesus. If it wasn't for Lincoln freeing the slaves, black people wouldn't be free now. Lincoln did not free the slaves, just on a side note, because he was against slavery. he freed the slaves because he wanted to, because we had come upon the industrial era, right? And he wanted the slaves to be freed on an economic basis, is because of slavery, the South made more money than the North. And like I said, we were coming into the industrial age, and he wanted to diminish the economic power of the South and embolden the economic power in the North. So he pretty much freed the slaves because he wanted to move them from the South, where they were making all the money for the South, and move them up north, so where they can make all the money and move them into the factories and make money for the Anglos, for the Caucasians up north. Do you see what I'm saying? He is not the great emancipator. He's not the person. Lincoln is not the person that people think, a lot of people think that he is. Okay. He was also a colonizer, a colonist. He wanted, at one point in time, before they started talking about the industrial era and moving the slaves from down south to up north, freeing them, so and telling and pretty much herding these former slaves up north to work in the factories. He wanted all the slaves to be put on ships and shipped back to Africa, or shipped back or shipped to places in the Caribbean, and that's why they call him a colonizer or a colonist, if you will. Okay, he was not necessarily against slavery. He was against the economic gains that the South had because of slavery. That's who Lincoln was. And people are being dishonest in the history books about who Abraham Lincoln actually was and what he actually represented. And a lot of people don't talk about that. They only stop at, oh, he freed the slaves, but they don't say why he freed the slaves. So when you see somebody wanting to have a statue of Abraham Lincoln removed, is because they're being dishonest about who Abraham Lincoln was. Okay? So anyway, let's listen to a little bit more of this interview, honey. It's very interesting what's going on here. Okay.
Wrong. The woke police is out there, and this poor girl Rachel, who is
this
just
poor girl
thrown
Rachel
to the lions. I don't know how you are equipped when you have never done this before to be woke enough, to be eloquent enough, to be ready to handle this. And my guess is this woman needs a little time. And this is, again, what we didn't give Hannah. It's what we didn't give anybody. We don't give people time to have some perspective, to try and drink this in for a second, see how this affects their life, and then speak on it. She will speak, I guess. And when she does, I'm going to hear her out. And if I disagree with her, if you disagree with her, then we can have our say. But I'm not sure why we are in such a hurry to throw this poor woman on the river.
It's been 6 weeks. We've known these allegations have been to Rachel since Matt's season started, which was in January.
But when do you jump in? When is the time? And who is Rachael Lindsay? And who is Chris Harrison? And who is whatever woke police person out there? Who are you? And that's I've heard this a lot of, like, I think she should.
He's passive aggressive.
He should. Who the hell are you? Who are you that you demand this?
It's not even demanding. It's just more of the affiliation. Your name, like I would imagine, Chris, that you would be so enraged that someone is calling you something that's not true, or using an adjective on you that's not necessarily true, that you would write, speak out, say something. And I think that's more where people are.
Yes and no, though. Yes and no. And you get this too. I get this a lot. People drag me all the time. People troll me all the time.
They do.
And you know what's funny? I get trolled on both sides. Hollywood elite, Hollywood liberal. You're a Trumper. You're a conservative. I honestly get 50-50 trolled on how bad I am on both sides of the aisle, which is really hysterical for me. And so you can't fight that. You can't come out and fight it. And there is also, and it'll be interesting to see when she does speak, and I know she will, that when she does speak, what is the reaction? Because you will not please everybody. You're not going to cure this. There is not a way to unwind it. Now, I think she'll be able to give an eloquent enough reason for most reasonable people, but reasonable people aren't on social media, and that's who you're dealing with. And so, are you going to, cure this? Are you going to fix this to a point where people will say, okay, yeah, no, this girl really gets it. She's woke. She understands this. This is, the girl who really.
Who could have known the smallest changes?
Shoot, commercial. Sorry about that. But anyway, he goes on and on defending Rachael Kirkconnell when it comes to her racist past or whatever, right? As well as the Hannah B person and her racist past. He's pretty much frustrated at this point. He's uncensored. He is passive aggressive towards Rachael Lindsay when he says stuff like, who are you? Who are you to try to condemn her via her racist past and all of this and all of that? The whole thing is just a hot mess, right? So since he did that interview, I won't finish it, but since he did that interview, Chris Harrison has come under fire for the comments that he made concerning this subject, right? And so we're going to look at his let me get back. We're going to look at his I'm trying to go back to the channel so I can see what's going on here because I'm flying blind and it's irritating me. Sorry about that, guys. So I couldn't see you guys, but hey, if you're just now coming into the room, Short Yellow Bus said Lincoln actually wanted to send us back to Africa. Yes, he did. He used us during the Civil War. Yes, he did. Food Junkie said facts, and Olivia. That's why CNN is doing that whole series on Lincoln. Oh, really, Food Junkie? Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah, he sounds very irritated, right? Distant Lover says, this made me sick when I heard about this. Absolutely, me too. That's why I want to talk about it, Distance Lover. I mean, it's very inconvenient at the time because we slap dab in the middle of Black History Month. Do you see what I'm saying? And he's making he's saying these things, right? So anyway, just some of the stuff that he said. Klaus said, Kiki Wyatt, like Matt, is biracial, and she is Kiki Wyatt or Watt is biracial, and she is one of those quote unquote we need to get over being oppressed, and mixed people have it worse than black folks. And, is that what she said, Cloud? Wow. Cloud said, I'm not trying to change the narrative, just showing Matt and Kiki are similar in their self-hate affliction. Oh wow. Hey, viewers of you. I'm catching up on the comments, guys, because I couldn't see the screen either of the comments. Okay. Klaus says, quote unquote, little girl. Wasn't she 18 or 19? Yeah, at the sorority party, she was 18 or 19. She grew up in the South. She knows absolutely what's going on. Okay, Cloud. So yeah, she knows what's going on. Like she didn't know right from wrong. Thank you. What a disgrace. Right, and she's only 20-something now. So she's grown up in the internet era. She knows absolutely what's going on. She absolutely knows what that plantation party represents, what her sorority represents, and all of that, right? I mean, come on now. She lives in the racist South. And we know that in the South, racism is not covert. It is overt. It is in your face all the time. All right. So she absolutely knows what's going on, right? And so, yeah. Yeah, she knows what's going on. Exactly. People must dig deeper to get the real truth. Absolutely. Let's be real. Short Yellow Bus says Lincoln actually wanted to send us back to Africa after using us during the Civil War. That's right. I read Food Junkies. He sounds irritated. I read that. Let me scroll down a little bit more. Good afternoon, Short Yellow Bus and Food Junkie. Okay, so after that, he got in trouble about what he said, right? And so he issued an apology. Now, this is a grown man. He knows absolutely what's going on. Okay. Now, it ain't like he's a spring chicken. He can't blame the innocence of youth on what he said, on what he let come out of his mouth, right? So he made an Instagram apology. He didn't come on live like he did. He didn't come on extra and say he was sorry. He wrote out an apology on Instagram. So let's read what it says. This is his Instagram apology, right? It's Chris Harrison, the host of The Bachelor, whatever. He said, to my Bachelor Nation family, I will always own a mistake when I make one. So I'm here to extend a sincere apology. I have this incredible platform to speak about love and yesterday I took a stance on topics about which I should have been better informed. What do you mean? But anyway, they took a whole diversity training class, the show did. And Rachel is going to explain that, right? So, which I should have been better informed. Well, I do not speak for Rachael Kirkconnell, the Caucasian girl that we're talking about. My intentions were simply to ask for grace. He's still not it's a sorry, not sorry sort of thing, right? My intentions were simply to ask for grace and offer her an opportunity to speak on her own behalf. All right. What I now realize I have done is cause harm by wrongly speaking in a manner which perpetuates racism. Right. And for that, he said, and for that, I am so deeply sorry. I also apologize to my friend Rachel Lindsay for not listening to her better on a topic she has a first-hand understanding of, and humbly thank the members of Bachelor Nation who have reached out to me to hold me accountable. I promise to do better. Now, that is what Chris Harrison said about his remarks. Do you see what I'm saying? This is just a sorry, not sorry, in my opinion. He is not apologetic at all, in my opinion. Okay, but it is what it is. Okay, right, Jan, the best. I can't with these apologies, right? And Klaus says, with the stupidity of some people, it looks like you're gaining more passengers. Short yellow, but child, DC, stay full. So anyway, that was his apology. And so this is an article, right? Wait till sort of intelligence further. Thank you, right? So this is the article that I want you guys to see. Like I said, this is an article that states Chris Harrison botched the latest Bachelor racism controversy. Now he's trying to apologize. I read you his apology. I'll let you hear some of what he said on the interview with Rachael Lindsay, the first Black Bachelorette. That interview is the reason why he had to apologize in the first place. Okay, and he since said that he is stepping back from the Bachelor. The Bachelor, hosting the Bachelor, being the face of the Bachelor for a while. He said he's stepping back. Do you see what I'm saying? For a little while, and I guess till this blows over or whatever, right? Hey, Donna Means, how you doing? Hi, everyone. The man in the interview is staying on code. Yes, he is, for many reasons. Let him continue to speak because a woke ADOS FBA need to hear know this information. Well, yeah. I mean, this is a very good conversation to have. You know, when it pertains to us Black peoples, you know, even in the entertainment industry, how they always go, you know, he's pretty much he's protecting these Black women for all of this racist activity that, you know, has pretty much been going on in Bachelor Nation forever, you know, to the point to where people start speaking out against it on social media, right? Yeah, he said he's stepping down for a while. That's what he said. After the apology, after the interview, he's stepping back for a while, right? And so let me read a little bit of this, and I'm gonna let you hear what Rachel did. She has a podcast here on YouTube. Her and a man named Van something, right? And we're gonna listen to what Rachel had to say, because remember at the top of the show, I told you guys that Rachel has been coming for the Bachelor franchise ever since she was dubbed the first Black Bachelorette. Okay, the way they treated her, she did not appreciate it. But there are some people that you do not mess with. Okay, just let me say. All right, and so yeah, So it says the story was updated on February 11th. On Wednesday, February 10th, the Bachelor host Chris Harrison came under social media fire for a 13-minute interview he gave to Extra and former Bachelorette Rachael Lindsay. We just listened to that. The conversation centered around Rachael Kirkconnell. I can't say that right. Rachael KKK, one of the leading contestants for the heart of Matt James on the season 21 Bachelor. Since the 25th season of the ABC reality show began, Internet Detective found images of Kirkconnell at racist parties, including an Old South celebration and wearing culturally appropriative costumes, right? Meaning that, you know, how they used to wear those big, you know, you know how they used to dress in the South, right? Back in the antebellum slave days, right? Those big bell dresses and stuff like that. That's what they mean by that. I also have a photo of that too. Let me read this article. It says, during the interview, Harrison defends 24-year-old Kirkconnell, calling her a girl and claiming 50 million, quote unquote, 50 million Americans recently frequented parties similar to the one Kirkconnell attended. What does that say about the epidemic of racism in this country, right? Kirkconnell attended, among many other offensive statements, a change.org petition calling for Harrison's removal and host of the Bachelor Nation properties over his behavior had more than 20,000 signatures at the publishing time. On Wednesday night, Harrison issued what he described as an apology. It was not an apology, in my opinion. The article goes on to state that, well, I just read you. This is the quote, what he said, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. It says, keep reading. I read that. It goes on to state that this story was originally published February 10, blah, blah, blah. If you frequent certain pockets of Bachelor Nation fandom, you've known about the brewing controversy around the 2021 Bachelor frontrunner Rachael Kirkconnell for weeks, right? I think she won, though. In my opinion, y'all, she won, right? And her mouth has been muzzled for over 6 weeks, right? Because they've been talking about this on social media, right? So it says that the conversation around Kirkconnell, who is competing for the heart of the first Black Bachelor, Matt James, began in early January when a TikTok user claimed that Rachael KKK bullied her in high school for liking Black guys, right? So now, mind you, she's supposed to be some innocent girl that doesn't understand racism and doesn't understand that she done anything wrong by attending this antebellum plantation slave plantation party. Okay, so the article goes on to state that while this racist allegation is still unverified by Bachelor's, it's still unverified. It's not unverified actually because they've got photos, right? Bachelor sleuths started looking into Kirkconnell's past and recent social media behavior. They learned that Kirkconnell went to an old, quote unquote, Old South plantation themed party in 2018, posted a photo of herself and her friends in culturally appropriative costumes as recently as June 2020. Okay, so she went to the party in 2018, right? So she's still been posting these parties and these costumes from the plantation party in 2020. In June of 2020, she reposted it mere months before Bachelor filming began. It comes from a family that donated to a fundraising platform dedicated to re-electing known white supremacist Donald Trump, among other offensive details. This is what all is coming out about her now, right? Okay. The article goes on to state that as upsetting information about Kirkconnell continues to spill out on social media, many have wondered when she would respond to these many racist allegations. As of publishing time, Kirkconnell has not answered the call. However, Kirkconnell's silence has prevented the ostensible leader of the Bachelor Nation machine from jumping in high gear to defend her, which she has issued an apology after this article right here. But first, before she issued the apology, after 6 weeks, Chris Harrison gets on Extra and done this very derogatory interview with Rachel Lindsay, right? The article goes on to state that on Wednesday, February 9th, Extra posted a 13-minute interview with the Bachelor and Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise, and Listen to Your Heart host, executive producer Chris Harrison, about the Kirkconnell controversy. Rachel Lindsay, the first Black Bachelorette and now an Extra host, shouldered yet another difficult conversation about racism in the often troubled franchise by leading the interview. Harrison immediately works to downplay the seriousness of what is being said about Kirkconnell, who he eventually calls this poor girl. She's just a poor, innocent little girl, right? There's a quote that says, I saw a picture of her at a sorority party 5 years ago, which was not 5 years ago. Harrison says Harrison says in the first 45 seconds of the video, right? Kirkconnell was not at some silly sorority party, quote unquote, as Harrison suggested. No, she wasn't. She attended the quote unquote Old South party thrown by Kappa Alpha Order at her school, Georgia College and State University. Kappa Alpha Order has known core ties to the KKK. Listen, let me read that again in case you guys are following along. Kappa Alpha Order at her school, Georgia College and State University, Kappa Alpha Order, the sorority, right, has known core ties to the KKK and credits Robert E. Lee as its spiritual founder. Robert E. Lee, he fought for the Civil War. He fought to uphold slavery and the values of the Old South. Okay, found Robert E. Lee as his spiritual founder, and the photos in question were not taken 5 long years ago, as Harrison says. Right, the Old South photos were captured less than 3 years ago in 2018. And considering when The Bachelor filmed the fall and winter of 2020, Kirkconnell attended the offensive party just 2 years before starting to date the first Black Bachelor. Okay? Wow. Okay. The article goes on to state that Harrison's entire argument is hinged on the idea that 2018, the year quote-unquote shallow dominated the radio, was an extremely long time ago, and cultural conversations around obvious racism like pro-plantation bashes were markedly different, right? It is, there's a quote that says, quote, "It is not a good look in 2018. Oh, no, is it not a good look in 2018, or is it not a good look in 2021? That was a question that he posed, unquote. Harrison asked Rachael Lindsay, because there's a big difference. He says there's a big difference between now, 2021, and 2018. Like, what's the difference? Like, I'm confused. What's the big difference? But anyway, quote unquote, because there's a big difference. This is what Harrison says. When Lindsay asked what she would represent at the party, Harrison placates her in a minimizing manner, saying, quote unquote, "You're 100% right in 2020. That was not the case in 2018. I absolutely disagree. That is disingenuous and just on so many levels, right?" The article goes on to state that with his upsetting defense, Harrison implies that Lindsay would not have felt uncomfortable at a party where men were dressed as slave owners in 2018. It says Lindsay would not have felt uncomfortable at a party, meaning the Black woman, Rachael Lindsay, would not have felt uncomfortable at a party where men were dressed as slave owners in 2018. What? Or that the average person would have found an issue with such a horrible scene. Harrison continues to empathize with Kirkconnell, right? With Rachael KKK, right? Who would have been about 22 at the time of the party. Now, she was 22 years old at the time of the sorority party, not 18 or 19, right? Okay? So the article goes on to quote that Harrison says, quote, "With this girl at, I don't know how old she would have been back then, have thought, quote, historically, this match has stood for this. Guys, it's not really that woke. It's not really that woke that we're here." Like, what do you mean by that? He says mockingly, right? He says, quote, "Now, does that make it okay? I don't know, Rachael. You tell me. Both were, but where is this lens we're holding up? Holding up as we look at the available whatever, right? Blah 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 blah. As between 2018, he says, you have to look at it through the ends of 2018, where it was not seen as culturally inappropriate, and now where everybody's supposed to be so woke, right? That's how he's trying to differentiate the nonsense, right? It don't make no sense to me, but okay, right. So the article just goes on to continue. It says, while Lindsay oddly agrees that we weren't looking through the world with a critical lens about racism by 2018, it's an indisputably incorrect statement in terms of simpler Bachelor Nation history. Lindsay's own season, The Bachelorette, came under fire for allowing a vocal racist. Oh, I remember that on the first Black Bachelorette's Journey for Love. It was this white guy on there, and he was openly racist on that show. Okay, I forgot to tell y'all that. The article goes on to state that Lindsay was the Bachelorette in 2017. As the 2018 Bachelorette aired, eventual winner Gerrick Ugoin was forced to apologize for multiple hateful social media likes. Megyn Kelly lost her job on the Today Show over backlash of the comments in 2018 about Rachel Lindsay's season, y'all, right? Megyn Kelly lost her job on the Today Show over blackface comments in 2018. Wedding sites were begging people not to host their weddings on plantations in 2018. By 2019, photos of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' 2012 wedding on a plantation were banned from Pinterest. The couple apologized for the wedding in 2020, right? So it goes on to state that beyond wider cultural discourse, Kappa Alpha sorority itself. This is the Rachael KKK sorority, right? Kappa Alpha Order itself has recognized the DNA level racism of the quote-unquote Old South parties. In 2016, the organization's National Board of Directors banned all chapters from sponsoring functions with the title Old South or anything similar. Listen to this, y'all. The University of Georgia reportedly prohibited students from dressing in antebellum style for Greek life parties like Old South in 2015. These parties were officially banned in 2015, yet Rachael KKK attended one of these parties in 2018, right? But they were officially banned in 2015 by the university. UGA is about an hour and a half drive from Rachael KKK's GCSU. Auburn University canceled its Old South Parade in 1993. These conversations are not brand new, no matter what Chris Harrison wants to say on national television. Absolutely. I mean, if the school was taking action back in 2015, what is he talking about? We weren't having these discussions in 2018. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, he's a whole liar, but okay. You know what I mean? So the article goes on to state that unavoidable fact is what makes Harrison's defense so disappointing. The public at large has been talking about racist institution for years, if not, say, decades and centuries. I agree, you know, but parties like Old South persist. They still persist right to this day. People are still having weddings on these plantations, okay? When I was working before I had, before I had retired, I had got invited to a wedding by one of my coworkers, right? You know, white woman, and she was having a plantation style wedding. Hit the 1 if y'all think I attended that wedding. Now hit the 2 if you think I did not attend that wedding. Okay, simply because of what she was having the wedding. Okay, it's just ridiculous. But anyway, I was invited, child. I was invited, and make it so bad, I don't even think the woman knew that she was being racially offensive towards me. Because like I said, we live in the South. It is what it is. Okay? And so, right, yeah, I didn't, child, I was offended. Just let me say that. But, what, child? Anyway, the article just goes on and continues talking about that. So let me move past this. Let me stop this screen. Because I want you guys to hear what. Now, Rachael, like I said, she has a podcast that she does with Van somebody. And we're going to listen to what she said, what she really thought about the extra interview that she had with Chris Harrison. Now, mind you, like I said, Rachael, in my opinion, has been coming for the throat of Bachelor Nation, the whole Bachelor franchise, since her season, right? How long have they been going on? The plantation parties, these types of parties have been going on forever. They've never stopped. You see, they've never stopped celebrating the antebellum South down here in the South. They say stuff like, we know they fly the Confederate flag, the South will rise again, all this and all that. You know, yeah, NYW, I was not coming. These parties have never stopped. These sororities, you know, and then this Kappa Alpha sorority, this Kappa Alpha order sorority, they said they're tied to the KKK. In my opinion, this is a new version of the daughters of the Confederate soldiers, the female version of the KKK. We know the KKK pretty much is dominated by white males, but the daughters of the Confederate soldiers, however, this was a group of antebellum ex-slave owner women during the Reconstruction era and the Jim Crow era. They started erecting these shrines to the Confederacy, to the Old South. Okay, they've infiltrated schools with all this racist rhetoric, trying to rewrite history. Even to this day, they try to rewrite the historical accuracies of slavery. Okay, they try to diminish the horrific trauma that underwent that a whole race of people had to undergo during 400 or 500 years of slavery. Right? Is it Van Lathan? Yes, it's Van Lathan. Thanks, it's Van Lathan. We're gonna listen to that, right? So, daughters of the Confederate are the reason we have a lot of they are absolutely the reasons we have a lot of those Confederate statues right to this day. Okay, but interestingly enough, most of the Confederate statues and the statues that praise and worship the Old South. Most of those, like those Robert E. Lee statues, the George Washingtons, the Abraham Lincolns, most of those statues were erected and placed during the time of the Civil Rights Movement, and they did that in order to intimidate Black people while they were fighting for their civil and human rights. We have so many of these statues in this country today, not because of what went on in the South during the Jim Crow era or the Reconstruction era. We have a lot of these statues were erected during the Civil Rights era, interestingly enough. There's something else that a lot of people don't talk about. Now, we spoke earlier about Abraham Lincoln and his statue, right? So anyway, let me let you guys listen to what Rachel Lindsay had to say in response to her Chris Harrison interview. Okay, let me find that. This was a very good conversation. I was like all off into it. Okay, I'm just saying. Anyway, hold on. Let me find it if I can. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to dissect it. Because like I said, Rachel, in my opinion, has been coming for Bachelor Nation ever since she felt like she was done wrong on Bachelor Nation. Okay? And she got every right to come for him. But they underestimated Rachel. Now, we know a lot of times that they continue to underestimate us melanated people. That was a mistake. They should not have underestimated Rachel. Okay? So yes, that's why they are huge. It was intimidation. You're right about that. So let me try to find this. I know there's gonna be some kind of freaking commercial. Okay, hold on, y'all. Let me get past the commercial. Hold on one second, and we're gonna listen to what Rachel Lindsay had to say about this interview, right?
Rachel Lindsay.
Welcome to Higher Learning.
Okay, so
Yeah, that's all. And so that's
okay. Let me pause. Okay, so Rachel has a podcast with a guy named Van Lathan, right? And the podcast is titled, the name of the podcast, the name of this channel right here is The Ringer. The name of the podcast is Higher Learning with Van Lathan and Rachel Lindsay, right? This is their podcast, right? Cloud said, could you imagine if someone tried to host a Holocaust party? Exactly, Cloud, right? Of course, there would be outrage, and rightly so. These plantation parties are just as, if not more offensive. You're absolutely right. They're culturally offensive and insensitive and downright racist in nature, and they do it on purpose because they're still praising slavery. They're still praising bondage and trauma that occurred to our ancestors centuries ago. They're still trying to hold tight to those traditions. That is why it's offensive. So I agree, Cloud. So anyway, this is Rachel Lindsay, what she had to say about the Chris Harrison interview, right? And she's on her podcast with Van Lathan. The name of the podcast is Higher Learning, right? So we're going to listen to how Rachel really felt about what went on with that Chris Harrison interview, right? How about we hold a Nat Turner party? Thank you, Short Yellow Bus. How would they feel about that? We know that they lost their marbles when the Nat Turner movie came out. They tried to destroy that boy's career. What was his name? They tried to destroy his career. Yeah, Malcolm X party. Absolutely. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. I agree with you. How would they feel about that? Yeah. Anyway, we're going to listen to what Rachael Lindsay had to say about this whole situation, right? Y'all hit to like. I like it when it's not a lot of us. We know that these conversations are never really popular over here, but I really want to have this conversation right here is absolutely appropriate because it is funny because we're in dab in the middle of Black History Month, okay? As well as Valentine's Day was yesterday, okay? So it's absolutely appropriate that Nate Parker, thank you, Carl, that we're having this conversation about love, okay? So anyway, so here's Rachael Lindsay. I think I'm on. So you do hit the one if you guys don't know what Rachael Lindsay looks like, and I'll try to pull her picture up, right? Hit the one if you want me to pull her picture up. But in the meantime, let's listen to her interview, right? Here we go.
And a picture popped up with her dressed up in her Southern Belle attire attending one of these parties. That's just one thing.
All right, so before we move on, let's stay right there for a half second.
Okay.
Because that, celebrating the Old South, when you go to a party like that, go to the Anthem home, go whatever that's. If you celebrate the Old South, there are traditions that go along with that. Like, you wouldn't celebrate Germany in 1941 without the accompanying atrocities that go along.
Thank you.
Like, you can't, there's part and parcel to celebrating the Old South, and going to a party like that is celebrating a time when there was slavery and degradation happening to Black people.
Yes.
So even if you have a different view of that, you're going to have to negotiate that with Black people or people who have a problem with it. You're going to have to say something. And she has not said anything about this to this point.
Right. So there are also other things with Rachael. It's not just this one thing. This is the latest, which has made things come to a head. There was a TikTok that was going around. There was all this information. I'm not sure what's true and what's not of either Rachael doing things. One thing I can tell you that is factual is that she liked a picture with two of her friends posing in front of a Confederate flag. There are pictures of her appropriating other cultures, dressing up as Indians. I think there's something else. Native Americans. Yeah. And yeah, I know. I caught it though. But see, I caught it. I was wrong. This is how y'all do it. I was wrong in what I just said. I am sorry. I corrected myself, and I will learn from it and do better. Stay with us now. What should have happened in the rest of the podcast as we continue? But that is something that she did that was problematic. Also, it's her friend group that has either said the N-word on Twitter, talked in African-American vernacular, stated how much they love Black people using Black emojis, and even posing with another Black male who was dressed as a slave for a Halloween party. So,
there's not a problem in it.
Yeah, that's
Did y'all hear that? There is a picture out there of one of her Black friends being dressed as a slave at a Halloween party. Child. But anyway, I don't know if you can see this on the screen, but the picture right here is Rachael. This is Rachael Lindsay. Let me pull it. Let me click one of them. This is Rachael Lindsay with the guy that used her, right? This guy right here, I told you about her season. This is the guy that strung her along. His name is Peter Kraus. She is married to this guy right here, Brian Abasolo now. But this guy right here is the one that strung her along, is because he had always wanted to be the Black Bachelor. Now, Rachael Lindsay, this is Rachael Lindsay. Like I said, she is the first Black Bachelor in the franchise's history, right? And so she's married to this guy right here now. This is who she eventually married. But the first guy that she was in a picture with is the one that strung her along and said that, you know, he felt like he was being attacked when she called him out for stringing her along, right? But she's married to this guy right here, this Brian Abasolo. This is who she's married to now. But this is the female that you're here talking with Van Lathan. So let's continue.
That's all.
Jesus Christ.
So there's all these things that are coming out. So with the Old South picture is the last thing that came to a head. Yes, that was it. Were you gonna say something else? Okay.
So this has been, like we said, controversial in Bachelor land. So this week, honcho television guy of The Bachelor. When I say honcho television guy, I mean he's the dude. You guys know. Chris Harrison is the host of The Bachelor.
He's the face of the franchise.
Face of the franchise. He is the constant. He came on to Extra, and you and him had a discussion about this entire controversy. And I've never gotten more feedback from the listeners of this podcast about something that we should talk about in their opinion. I'm going to completely turn it over to you because I don't think anything needs to be set up. I don't think that I need to say anything else.
So, thank you, Van. So, when I brought Chris Harrison on to Extra, he was going to talk about last night's episode. Okay, brought him in on a Tuesday. He was going to talk about what happened on Monday. We did do that. But then I asked a question, saying something he said made me poke a little harder. So I phrased the question, what are your thoughts about the allegations against Rachael, the contestant on the show, the one we just talked about? And then he went off. And I want you guys to listen to some of the things he said.
You know, I saw a picture of her at a sorority party 5 years ago, and that's it. Like, boom. Like, okay, well, this girl is in this book now, and she's now in this group. And I'm like, really? Okay, well, there goes.
The picture was from 2018 at an Old South antebellum party. So I think, you know, when you hold that under the lid. It's not a good look.
No, it's not a good. Well, Rachael, is it a good look in 2018 or is it not a good look in 2021?
It's not a good look ever.
I don't disagree with you. You're 100% right in 2021. That was not the case in 2018. Again, I'm not defending Rachael. I just know that, I don't know, 50 million people did that in 2018. My guess, these girls got dressed up and went to a party and had a great time. They were 18 years old. Now, does that make it okay? I don't know, Rachael. You tell me. And when it comes to Rachael, I look at Hannah B and what she did. I look at people that have made mistakes. Again, I am not the woke police. There's plenty of people who will do that for us in this world right now. I don't know. Like, do you go tear all those places down and tear up the dirt and dig deep enough that it erases it? I don't know. You know, when you see San Francisco erasing Lincoln and erasing Washington and erasing people because of what they stood for 180 years ago, I don't know. Is that right? Is it wrong? The woke police is out there, and this poor girl, Rachael, who has just been thrown to the lions. I don't know how you are equipped when you have never done this before to be woke enough, to be eloquent enough, to be ready to handle this.
All right, so I got a lot of feedback on this, and I just want to say I really appreciate for those who reached out to me, who supported me, who really had a problem with what was said. Then there were some people who said, why didn't I press harder? So I do want to address this. People of color are not given the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say that again. People of color are not given the benefit of the doubt. And it is a struggle being a Black woman on television because I have seen it happen to me the other way. For me to be even, I have to stay even, Kill. I have to stay calm. I cannot react. I cannot show emotion. I cannot show my slip, as you would say in the South. And the reason is because once I do that, that is all people will see. I will be angry. I will be aggressive. You will not hear what I'm saying. You will not hear what the other person, Chris Harrison in this instance, was saying. You will only see the reaction. And when I saw how this interview was going, I said, I'm just going to sit back and I'm just going to let this man talk. I'm going to hold it together. I'm going to poke just a little bit. But it was as if Chris Harrison woke up and said, you know what? I'm just going to be myself today. There was no PR on the call. There was nobody to stop him. Nobody to tell us to stop. Nobody to tell us to cut some things out. So we played the interview in its entirety on YouTube. Couldn't even play it on the screen. So for all those people who might have something to say about the way that I was reacting, I had to stay calm because I needed people to see and hear what was happening in that message or that interview.
Let me pause right here for a second. The picture that you're seeing on your screen right now, I hope you guys can see it. This is a picture of her at the actual plantation party, the Old South Antebellum party. This picture was taken in 2018. And, you know, Chris Harrison called her a young girl, all this and all that. She was 22 years old at the time of this photo at this plantation party, this Old South, if you will, party. And if you can see her, she's circled in the red. That is Rachael KKK right there. This is the dresses that they have on, these old antebellum South dresses, if you will. That is her at the party. I hope you guys can see that. And I think that Matt James is actually going to choose. I think that that's who he chose, right? To be the winner. That's the one that he chose, right? But I want you guys to see a photo of that, of what she had, of the picture that they're talking about, right? And let me see if I can find another picture. Yeah, I couldn't find that other picture. It was a picture of when they were showing her. She had liked a couple of TikTok or Instagram photos of some of her other Caucasian friends standing in front of a Confederate flag or whatever. This is a picture of her, the Rachael KKK chick with Matt James. Like I said, he made a beeline for this chick right here as soon as he got on the show. And so yeah, there's just like a lot going on with that photo. But I want you guys to see who it was that they were talking about, you know. And so that's who they're talking about. This chick right here. If you guys can see this. And so anyway, let's continue. So yeah. Ain't it wondrous? But yeah. Anywho, let me click on this right here. Now, in this photo, you see Matt James, the current black bachelor. I showed you his history. His dad's African, his mom's white. That is the one that's Rachael KKK, and that's Rachael Lindsay right there. Okay. So anyway, let's continue and listen to some more what Rachael has to say about the interview that she had with Chris Harrison. Okay.
And I need people to take that. Listen to the things he said. He said things, and I think the thing that really bothered me the most is I wanted to react so badly. And if you pay attention to that video, I'm moving my hands together. My foot is moving because I'm boiling inside. And the things that were boiling to me the most were the compassion and the grace and the space that Chris Harrison wanted to give to Rachael, but couldn't give it to this Rachael in the interview. Couldn't give it to the people that were offended by the things that she did. Where was the compassion for them? Couldn't give it to them. The other thing that really got to me was when he said, and I have this written down, the quote, "Who are you? Who is Rachael Lindsay? Who is Chris Harrison? Who are we? I mean, who the hell are you?" Basically saying, who are we to tell her when that she should apologize? Who are we to tell her that we're offended? Do you understand how problematic that is? What I wanted to shout in that conversation is, you're right, Chris Harrison. Who are you? Who are you to say something? Because you aren't the person who's been offended by the very actions that she is affiliated with, by the things that she's done. Who is Rachael Lindsay? Rachael Lindsay is a black woman, the very person who is affected by this Rachael Kirkconnell. So I have every right to speak out and say I'm offended. I have every right to say this is what she should do. And I have every right to demand the apology. And to add on top of that, he threw in Hannah Brown. Now, we all know how I feel about that situation. Not once, but twice, said that we didn't give Hannah Brown the space. We didn't give her the grace that she needed. Y'all remember Hannah Brown said the N-word, right? Hannah Brown said the N-word. and
Wow.
then disappeared for 2 weeks before she formed together a written statement that disappeared on her story after 24 hours. But I'm supposed to have grace for that when I'm the one who's offended, and I don't even need to get into that because we've already talked about the weight of that word. So my biggest thing with Chris Harrison is he's apologized since then. And I definitely want to say that he did reach out to me, and we had a conversation. A short conversation, but we had a conversation, and he apologized, and I appreciate that. And then he did the statement. But I'm having a really, really hard time reasoning or like really taking in and accepting this apology. And I'll tell you why. When I finished that interview with Chris Harrison, he had no problems with it. He was fine. He texted me after. He appreciated the conversation. He thought that, he was like, yeah, I'll probably get a little flack, but thought it was great that we could disagree, but do it in a civil way. It wasn't until the backlash came the next day. It wasn't until people start talking, people start demanding and calling for different things that he then apologized to me and then apologized publicly. So you got to see, for me, I'm trying to reason, well, which one is it? Because to me, Tuesday was your truth, and Wednesday is after the fact.
Right.
Wednesday was a response to the backlash.
Right.
During that whole conversation, he had the audacity to question me. During that conversation, he talked over me and at me. During that conversation, his privilege was on display. He never gave me room to talk, and he never gave me room to share my perspective. He wasn't trying to hear it. He was just trying to be heard. And that's because I felt like he had an agenda that he was trying to push. He was really trying to push that forward. He expressed everything that he said with passion and conviction. So for me, Tuesday is what it was. And I'm not saying that he can't be apologetic. I'm not saying that he can't learn and be better from it, like he said in his statement. But you'll have to give me some space, and you'll have to give me some compassion and some grace to take the time to really reason and accept that, because that was a lot. And I do want to say this too. Chris Harrison is the face of the franchise. People go to him for his opinion on what's going on within the franchise, for production, and what's happening with contestants. So if he is speaking out in an interview in this way to discuss things related to the Bachelor franchise, then what does that really say about the franchise? What does the franchise really represent and mean if this is your face, this is your spokesperson, and this is what he really feels?
Come through, Rachel.
Wow. Yeah. So I watched it a couple of times. Yeah.
Did you watch it a couple of times?
Yeah, watched it a couple of times.
Okay, wait. Can we all have a moment for Van's comment on Chris Harrison's Instagram post?
He's a weenie.
I literally cackled down.
He proves himself to be a weenie.
Like,
And
look at Van.
it's like you're a weenie, bro. Like, no, you comported yourself like a weenie.
And I told him we would be talking about it on this podcast. I want you to know, it's not like I didn't have a conversation. I said, just so you know, I will be talking about this on the podcast.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's something to discuss. It's because for me, I was laughing hysterically the entire time I watched it.
Of course you were.
I'll tell you why. I was laughing because I know the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I know the feeling. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm just, sometimes you're talking to people, you know, you're on a television show, they're saying these things, and you're like, hey, man, just want to let you know that we're recording this. Like, you know, this is, people are going to hear this. We can hear you. Like, we can hear what you're saying. And I think it's scary in a way. And that's probably another reason why I was amused by it, is because it's the type of thing that makes you just want to throw your hands up.
Exactly.
Because I'm listening to him, and let's forget about right and wrong. Because right and wrong rarely apply when you're talking about human beings. We think that they do, but right and wrong rarely apply when you're talking about human beings. But there are things that they're not right or wrong, but they're smart or dumb. Okay. So in a society where there are lots of different people trying to get along, for the advancement of that society, it's smarter and makes more sense to be sensitive and aware of what everybody else is going through. Yeah. It's the same way you run your household. It's the same way you run your business. It's the same way you run anything where there are people of different opinions who are in the same place. So it is smart if you have offended or wronged someone, either purposely or on accident, to say, hey, I get that. I didn't get it then, but I get it now. I want to move forward and continue to be a person. And once you've said that, now it's up to them to do the smart or dumb thing. It's smart not to throw people away as soon as they make a mistake. Because if we threw everybody away as soon as they made a mistake, we wouldn't have anybody left because everybody makes mistakes. Right. So if we forget about good and bad, we talk about smarter, smarter dumb. What is dumb, truly dumb, is to stand in something and submit yourself in it while somebody else is trying to talk you through their experience. And what I saw out of Chris Harrison was scary because he's not the poster child for American racial evil. Right. He's not an easy guy. That wasn't David Duke. That wasn't anybody else. That was somebody who was informed by decades of being on this earth in a country where he never has to say he's sorry. Exactly. Right? In a country where not only does he never have to say he's sorry, to where the value of apology and reconciliation seems diminished. It seemed like to me he couldn't see the value in it. He didn't care to, right? Like, let her take as long as she wants to apologize. Who are you to say when she should apologize? Who is anybody? You don't apologize based on the demand of somebody else. You apologize because of what you're feeling inside. The most craziest thing that we can do anytime is demand an apology. Whenever you demand an apology, the apology itself doesn't hold very much weight. I absolutely agree. Let me pause right there for a minute. So this is Rachel talking about the interview, but Cloud, I agree with Cloud said. Cloud said Rachel is funny playing the quote unquote sister girl card, but married a small hands Brad herself. Yeah, that's the duality of the whole situation, Cloud. Because see, my issue with Rachel, and I'm glad you said that, and yeah, she's absolutely right. But the problem that I have with it is the duality of the situation. Like, she went into her season clearly not wanting to, in my opinion, I think she came in there, knowing that she wasn't going to choose, a black man as her husband, right? Which is fine. That's absolutely her right. But the reason why she has been coming for Bachelor Nation's throat, in my opinion, is because she got her nigga wake up call. Like I said, her daddy is a federal judge. Nevertheless, and her mom is black as well. But they grew up in a world in which they didn't necessarily have to deal with these issues. So you put yourself on a worldwide platform and you get your nigga wake up call, right? And so the white guy that she was wanting to pick, he pretty much played her to the left because he wanted to be the next Bachelor. She didn't appreciate that, right? So she has been coming for Bachelor Nation's throat ever since they did that to her. You know what I mean? So she's absolutely right in her grievances with Bachelor Nation, but she is being somehow, and they did, I agree, let's be real, they underestimated her blackness, but she's more so driven by
retribution. Okay. And when she has every right to be driven by retribution, do you see what I'm saying? And I get what she's doing. And but she still got a nigga wake up call, and she was still embarrassed in front of the whole country. Do you see what I'm saying? Because of her choices, And yes, she did, and she explained she had to keep her cool and all this and all that. So I'm glad that she's talking about it. Do you see what I'm saying? I really am. But she's not talking about the fact that this was done. All of this is because she wants to pay them back, and not saying that she didn't have no right to pay them back. Do you see what I'm saying? And sometimes I don't think y'all want black women to be happy. Who is Bad B Tanya? What they got to do with anything, Bad B Tanya? Yeah, she got a nigga moment, and she want to pay Bachelor Nation back for that. And she has bided her time and dealt with these people for years for this moment right here. Okay? This is her get back, okay? But you do not pick with a woman scorned, okay? And you do not pick with somebody like a Rachael Lindsay, because she gonna get you, okay? And she got him. And you'll go on and listen. We're gonna listen to some more of this interview. But she eventually says that after her contract is up, she done with him. See, she can be done with him now because she done paid him back. She feel vindicated, okay? She's gone is what she is. She out of there. You see what I'm saying? She done got her payback. She good now. She don't appreciate how these people treat her, and rightfully so. She wasn't supposed to have to. She wasn't supposed to have to placate herself, and downplay, what's been done to her. She's been doing that for years. And then she knew eventually that Chris Harrison, because she's a lawyer and she's a human being and she's a smart woman, she knew that eventually he was going to tell on himself. Part of the reason why I like to do reaction videos is because you can say what you want to say and feel how you want to and dissect what it is that somebody's saying, right? But when you hear the thing coming out of the person's mouth, do you see what I'm saying? When you hear it coming right from the horse's mouth, if you will, like she let Chris Harrison talk, how you going to spin that? He couldn't spin it. Okay, because he clearly was agreeing with the racist activity of this Rachel KKK chick, right? He clearly was trying to protect her, calling her a little girl, and all of this. Said she was 18 or 19, she was 22, she didn't know what she was doing, when she absolutely knows what she's doing, right? There was no defense of that, to the point to where he had to come on and apologize, give his apology. Not apologies, sorry, not sorry, right? But he even had to try to make amends, because now he's trying to save Bachelor Nation, not knowing the whole time that Rachael Lindsay been sitting back in the corner waiting for the day that she would get to do this to not only Chris Harrison but Bachelor Nation for doing what they did to her and making her look like how they want, like a stereotypical mad black woman. And that is what she's talking about on this interview. She's saying what she couldn't say on the extra celebrity news channel, but she's saying this in her podcast, and that's what she's listening to. And she got every right to get them back. That's what they get for playing with her. Because see, you can't play with everybody's emotions, right? And Chris Harrison, he's so frustrated with dealing with the thing that he was just whatever. I'm just gonna say my piece. Hey, Food Junkie. He talked so much that he put his foot right. Yes, he did. He put his foot right in his mouth. And Rachael Lindsay sat there, and she was really calm and cool, collected. Like she said, as black people, especially on a national stage, we can't show any type of frustration or anything. We have to be even keeled, especially as black women, because even if you're right, if you get upset, you're going to diminish the whole conversation, because they're going to throw it into, she's just a mad black woman. She's irrational. She's irrational. She's irate. We don't have to validate her points. So she sat there and she was calm and she was cool and she was collected, and she let him stick his foot in his mouth to the point to where he done had to step down. Now, I would be shocked if whatever show they are taping now is not the last show for the Bachelor franchise. I will be shocked, because this has been ongoing for years. It's just that it's hit a fever pitch now, and Chris Harrison just really could not hold it in anymore. You see what I'm saying? And Rachael Lindsay is getting a good kiki out of it, because she's been justified, via all of this that's been going on, and so yeah. Short Yellow Bus says, know your audience. She knew not to mess up on it. Yeah, she knew not to mess up. She said that at the beginning of this interview, Short Yellow Bus. She was like, I had to sit there, my hands and my legs was twitching, but I had to be calm. I didn't want them, saying that I was an angry black woman, invalidating the whole argument. She know how to move. She been knowing how to move. You saw I said food junkie, but think about this at Olivia. She got her start in all of this chasing after a white man on a TV show. I'm just saying, you're absolutely right. And that's why I said food junkie, when she first came on the show, she got a nigga wake-up call. Do you see what I'm saying? And she felt a way about how she was treated. And that's the duality of the situation, food junkie. You're right about that. She got on here chasing a white man. She got played by the white man. She got humiliated by the whole franchise. And she just been sitting back for years dealing with these people, okay, waiting to get her payback. You see what I'm saying? And so I'm cool. She's advocating for diversity on the show and talking about issues when it comes to black people. Do you see what I'm saying? But the real reason why she's doing this is really because she wanted vindication. Because of the way she was made to look all those years ago when she was dubbed the first black bachelorette. And so, yeah. So, yeah. Biting the tongue, I feel her. I never liked that show. Right, NYW. That's what I said at the beginning of this show right here has never been my thing. I am not their target audience. You see what I'm saying? And then, like I said, every time I see a black person on this show, on this Bachelor or the Bachelorette, it's real cringeworthy to me. You see what I'm saying? And so, because that black people is not this show's target audience. But like I said in review several years ago, a lot of Bachelor Nation started speaking up about the diversity issues that they had with this franchise. And it wasn't until 2017 that a black person was cast as a bachelorette, okay? And it was a female black woman. You see what I'm saying? But they underestimated Rachael. They thought they could do her like that, but they couldn't do her like that. And she's been willing their butt down ever since the way that they did her. Hey, QT1. Ever since the way that they did her on her season of the show. And now this is her getting her vindication, in my opinion. So let's listen to a little bit more of it, right? So, but you have to recognize what's going on here. You see what I'm saying? So is she fighting for diversity and equality as it pertains to this show? Or is she, getting her payback? Or is she doing both? So, yeah. I know that's why NYW, the cringe is at 1,000. Yeah. So you really have to, the duality of the situation is very interesting to me. And so, yeah, that's another reason why I want to do this right here with you guys today. Short Yellow Bus says, I don't like none of those shows. 90 Days Fiance, Love After Lockup, none of them. Yeah, that's not I'm not the target audience either. Those shows make women look desperate. Yes, I agree. The misogyny is too much for me. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't get down like it. I'm not that type of a woman. You see what I'm saying? So I really can't get into. Now, the reality show that I did like was Flavor of Love. And I like Flavor of Love back in the day simply because it was Flavor Flav. And I grew up in that rap era with Flavor of Love. Okay, the thing was a whole bunch of comedy to me. But I really like Flavor of Love. Y'all remember Flavor of Love in New York? And all of them competing for Flavor. Child, who in the world want to compete for Flavor Flav, child? But it was a lot going on. But this Bachelor franchise has never been my thing. You know what I mean? But like I said, I looked at Rachel Lindsay's season when she was the first black bachelorette simply because they kept dubbing her the first black bachelorette. The whole thing was disingenuous because black people is not this franchise's target audience. You see what I'm saying? I read it was temporary that Chris was. Yeah, he said he was stepping down temporarily. You're absolutely right. That is what he said. You really like 90 Day Fiance and Love After Lockup, but not The Bachelor. I've never watched. Of course, I've heard of 90 Day Fiance. Never watched it. Never watched one episode of Love After Lockup. My niece Brandy likes Love After Lockup, and she'll tell me some of what's going on, on that show. It's not my thing either. That's not. I'm not their target audience. I'm not gonna lie. Klaus says black women like the one who just got blocked are part of you blocked the cloud. Good for you. A part of the problem. They're trying to say that their quote unquote salvation is with the white man. Well, there's a lot of self-hate, Cloud. Obviously, you have free will, but it comes with consequences. You're absolutely right. And a lot of people don't understand the cultural ideas behind a lot of things that we have to deal with. You see what I'm saying? And so even when it comes to interracial dating, a lot of people don't want to acknowledge the history behind that. And so for that reason, you will get somebody like that, Cloud. Do you see what I'm saying? And so, yeah, we see a lot of that on YouTube with the Crystal and Cousins on here. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes, but the focus was on him. It made sense. The time, and short, the bus, but I agree with you. The idea of women waiting for a man in jail disturbs my spirit. I like I said, that's not my thing. I don't get that. Yeah, that's not my not my thing. That's not my testimony. So yeah, absolutely. But anyway, y'all, let's listen to some more of this interview, okay? Because Rachael, she really is saying how she really feel. Like she is pretty much done at this point. She feel vindicated, okay, and justified. All right. And so she done got her warning. She good. She ready to go. She said when her contract is up, she out there. You know what I mean? Right at Cloud. It was a different time and era. I love Flavor Flav. Flavor of Love. I got my whole life with Flavor of Love, child. I got a good kiki off of this show. Okay. Oh, you talking about Flavor of Love? NYW. Okay. Yeah, I got a good kiki out of that show. Cause my God, it's Flavor Flav, for goodness sake. Yeah, the focus was on him. Yeah, it was NYW. Yeah. A child, they could have put any women in front of Flavor Flav, and I would have been side-eyeing all of the women in my mind. I'm like, it's got to be for the coin, honey. Oh, Lord. I mean, no harm, but bye-bye. So it's true, The Bachelor even said it's old news and is sticking up for her. Yep, Chris Harrison was trying to stick up for Rachael KKK. Yes, he was, until he got backlash and had to apologize. And he said he's stepping down for a while because he was racially insensitive. And, the whole sorry, not sorry spiel. So let's listen to a little bit more of what Rachael has to say, because I love this conversation right here. It's absolutely appropriate, okay? So anyway.
You should come from the empathy that you have for somebody else.
Okay, and the person that's talking right now is Van Lathan. And he and Rachel Lindsay do a podcast. And the name of that podcast is Higher Learning. I believe it's on Apple. And whatever platform shares those Apple podcasts or these types of podcasts right here. This one in particular. This is the genesis of this podcast right here. They are always on call. Yeah, and let's be real. Like YT for me. I find it fascinating. Lady Jessica, women are gorgeous. Okay. Oh, you mean W? Oh, okay, Lady Jessica. Cloud. I got another troll here. Can you get it out of the name of it? Is Lady Jessica. Can you get that troll out here for me, please? But anyway, let's listen. I just want to tell you guys the name of the podcast is the Higher Learning Podcast with Van Lathan and Rachel Lindsay, formerly the first Black Bachelorette. And so anyway, they're talking about the title of the video is Rachel Lindsay sounds off on Chris Harrison's problematic extra interview and apology. Okay, so anyway, let's finish listening.
Experience. And if she's looking around and she's seeing that people feel a way about that, and there's not something inside of her that goes, let me figure out what it is that they're talking about and address this, which is something else that you said during the interview, then to me, that goes through a process where it stops becoming ignorance and starts becoming fuck you.
Yeah.
And that's cool too. As far as I'm concerned, that's cool too. If that's how you want to play it, that's cool too. But when I watched Chris used all the buzzwords. Woke police.
Way too intense.
Woke, the woke police. It wasn't woke. It wasn't woke. You know what Chris showed in that? Chris hates woke.
He hates woke people.
Chris hates woke. Chris hates this society where he no longer gets to stomp his feet and have everybody be on his time. Chris preferred it. I'm
back in 2018. He said it.
He preferred it.
Yeah.
When we didn't see it.
He talked about some of the games that he played when he was a kid in the 70s. Chris likes those games. And to be honest with you, even if he doesn't like them, he's annoyed that he has to apologize for them.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it was. You could insert accountability, the word accountability, in for woke. Yeah. Every time he said woke. So you're mad people are now holding people accountable for the things that they do. Okay. Because in 2018, we didn't do that.
By the way,
we weren't looking through that lens.
By the way, I want to let Chris and Rachel McKKK or like whoever, I want to let them know something. In 2018, I was 38 years old. I wasn't a little baby. I was a grown-ass man.
Right.
All right? If I would have seen a picture of a coworker of mine at an Old South party, I don't know what era you think 2018 was. If I would have seen a coworker of mine at an Old South party, we got to have a conversation.
I got invited to one.
We got to talk about this. What is this? What does this mean? What you trying to say?
Well, Van, 50 million people went to those parties back in 2018. So, and as I quote, that was just, hold on, I got to read this quote because it was that outrageous. That was just girls who got dressed up, went to a party, and had a great time. They were 18 years old. So, it's okay. It's okay. Because they had a good time. They got dressed up, had a good time.
Chris
50 million of them.
Chris is dense because everybody is just people that got dressed up to go do stuff. You can just get dressed up and go to a Klan rally. If the theme of what you're going to celebrates racism, it is racist. I want white people to know. See, I know that it's hard to be wrong when you've been told you're right your entire life. Man, I know that because I'm a man. That's how I know. I know that because I'm a man. I've looked at women when we've had all of these discussions over the past couple of years, and I've been like, y'all want all of this too? I know it. I felt it. It doesn't feel right. My dad told me when I was a little boy, he's like, you go out there, you're going to build a kingdom. Some woman's going to come along. She's going to validate you. She's going to make everything. She's the missing piece to what you're. She's not her own person, her own thing. She adds to your greatness. And then you'll have kids that'll add to your greatness. And then one of your kids will have a penis. And then you'll talk to him. And then you'll give your greatness to him. Fuck your daughter. The greatness gets passed from you to you to you. And then you give it to another little guy. And then he'll go do the same thing. And then we'll keep repressing women over and over and over again. It'll be great. And then one day women went, no. And I was like, huh? They're like, no.
Right.
Everybody, I get it. I understand it. It doesn't feel great. But think of how the other side feels.
Exactly. That's the thing.
Right. So when I'm watching him talk to you, I'm thinking to myself, yo, this is beautiful. This is really funny. Like, fam in a way, that was him finally getting the chance to stand up.
Mm-hmm. For his whiteness, for his privilege. Absolutely.
This is what I tell people. Chris loved to keep saying, we've had these conversations. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. Because we've had these conversations, Rachel wasn't shocked at what he said. I'm just shocked he said it on camera.
Bachelor!
Did y'all hear that?
You got a weenie problem over there, ABC. Okay?
We got to get it together.
You got a weenie problem. By the way, this was the best thing that could have happened to Matt James for this podcast today.
because he's not the weenie. The weenie roast isn't him.
There will be no weenie roast. I didn't get a chance to watch this episode of The Bachelor, which I actually enjoyed, by the way.
Not watching?
No, I enjoyed No, I didn't get to watch it until after I saw the interview.
Oh, okay.
But I really enjoyed the episode.
Okay.
Like,
People are going to be
good.
upset that they're not going to hear from you.
I really enjoyed the episode. First of all, you know what I really enjoyed? You know that girl that kept crying because she was about to get kicked off the show? What was her name?
She was getting kicked off?
She got kicked off the show. There's a girl that got kicked.
That's right, Klaus.
No, not MJ. MJ is the white girl, right? Yeah.
Which one was this?
No,
Who got kicked off?
Another girl that was...
Piper?
She was
Ryan.
Oh,
Ryan.
Ryan, yeah, at the beginning.
Ryan, that had me on pins and needles. I'm like, is she going to say is she going to go? She was crying her little heart out. I hope she's okay somewhere.
She is.
But Chris Harrison he's done something that very few people have managed to do.
Oh, yeah.
Justin Timberlake achieved this on Super Bowl Eve, back when he performed with Janet. Okay. He achieved it. Kanye West achieved it when he came to TMZ. Lil Wayne achieved it when he took the picture with Trump.
Yeah.
Chris Harrison has become a platinum level weenie.
It's not what you're going to say.
Talking to my sister that way. Okay. Platinum level weenie. He is the captain. He is a new species. He is hominess weeniestness. He is a new species. And I hope that everyone that's listening to this, as we have some fun, realizes how corrosive, how blinding, and how absolutely frustrating privilege can be. And how
I just want to highlight that. And he's talking about how he couldn't take it anymore. And he pretty much had to let his racist ideology, his privilege. He's so frustrated about, having to justify his racism. He just couldn't take it anymore. And so he just had to let it out. And that's what they're talking about, y'all. So anyway, let's continue.
It isn't for you. Society isn't for me. Society is for us.
Us meaning Caucasians.
Well said.
Rach, I forgot to ask you something.
What's up?
Before we move on from the whole Chris Harrison thing, where does this put you in terms of your standing?
Now listen, y'all, pay attention to this because she's gonna tell how she's gonna move when it comes to Bachelor Nation going forward. This is her response.
In the Bachelor Nation, this is kind of like it's like you're huge in the Bachelor Nation, and then he's huge in the Bachelor Nation, and there's a schism. Does the network get involved? Do people have to mediate this? Like, what happens now?
I think that's a great question because it'll be interesting to see how does the network respond? How does the franchise respond to this? Because I think by their actions, you'll be able to tell. Because I think that's what's interesting about Chris Harrison. He said, I promise to do better. I need people to stop making these statements. What does that look like? What does doing better look like? How are you going to be better? That is what I want to know. You putting out a statement and disappearing for a few days, weeks, that ain't better. How is Chris Harrison going to be better? Can that please be the next tweet, the next post of you telling me what you did wrong? Because I need you to see it. And then how you're going to be better with that. As far as me, I'm fucking tired. I'm exhausted. I have truly had enough. My entire reason for doing The Bachelorette, and I was lucky that it worked out for me in the most beautiful way in finding Brian, is that I wanted to be representative as a Black woman to this audience. And I wanted to pave the way for more people to have this opportunity. In some ways, that has happened. I wanted the franchise to be better. I have a love-hate relationship with it. I'm connected to it. It did stuff for me, and I'll never forget that. But how much more do I want to be affiliated with this? How much more can I take of things like this? I already said I was going to leave if they didn't have leads of color. Okay, they did that, and they made some other changes. They hired a diversity consultant. Who didn't attend the class? Did Chris Harrison not sit through that? I'm confused as to how you could have a whole consultants working for you, yet what happens just happened. So are people going through training? Are they learning things? Or are they just being protected from what we just saw happen this week? I can't take it anymore. I'm contractually bound in some ways, but when it's up, I can't do it anymore.
So
what Rachel really means is she don't have to do it anymore because she done got her payback. Okay, that is what I mean by the duality of the situation. Because she wanted she said she wanted to pave the way for more people of color, for more black people, to be on this show. So why this show in particular? Would she have gone out of her way to bring down Chris Harrison and Bachelor Nation had she not been wronged by Bachelor Nation? Now, she signed up for this. She signed on looking for a specific type of Caucasian that she wanted to marry. Okay, even though her daddy is black, and he's a federal judge, you know what I mean? Via her environment, her sister is married to a Caucasian man. All of these things you have to consider. So I am happy that she is speaking out about the situation, and she is absolutely right in what she's saying. The only thing that Rachel is being dishonest about is why she sought to take down, in my opinion, the whole Bachelor franchise. And she didn't seek this to seek out this to destroy this franchise, if you will, because they were being racist towards black people. In my opinion, she sought out to destroy or bring down Bachelor Nation because she was wronged. But she came on the show looking for a certain type of man, and that certain type of man played her. He used her, and she felt embarrassed by that, and she is a woman scorned. Now, they got caught up. That's what they get because they played with the wrong black woman. Now, I agree with everything she's saying, though, but she's not being honest about why she did what she did, okay? I'm just saying. Anyway, let's listen to it a little bit more, because there's a certain part that I want y'all to hear about what Van Lathan says, this black man says about Black Matt James, the current black bachelor. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you think it's jealousy? No, it's not jealousy. It's revenge. It's what it is. It's revenge. Because they made her look bad. And it's revenge. He is the one that kept talking. Yeah, he kept talking. I don't think she did. No, I'm not saying she did that. She let him talk. She let him talk because she had heard Chris Harrison. She knows he's clearly racist. She has heard him talk like this behind the scenes. But she knew eventually, in my opinion, because she is a lawyer. And when you're a lawyer, you know that what you need to do is act sympathetic to the person that you're trying to convict, and you make them want to feel so comfortable that they're going to tell on themselves. And it took years for Chris Harrison to be this upset about the situation when it comes to diversity and black people on The Bachelor. This was what she was waiting for. She was waiting him for finally say what he had to say on a public platform. Yes, she played him. She knew. She sat back and she buying her time with these people. Do you see what I'm saying? Because she knew one day that he was going to talk about how he really felt, how frustrated he was by having to deal with this whole black person situation with this franchise. Because it's been a situation. He just ain't never told on himself until he did the interview with Rachel. But she knew eventually it was going to happen. Eventually. The best way to get somebody is to get them to tell on themselves. That's the way you do that. That's the smackdown. Okay? That's why I love to do reaction videos. Because the best thing for you to do is hear it coming from the horse's mouth. And finally, she got that. Now she can be done. She's been vindicated. Okay? She feel good now. So when her contract is up, she said, hey, I'm out of there. Whatever. I'm tired. Child. Be safe to say that I love when Miss Olivia break these topics down. She's like, thank you, Be Safe, but hey, that's what they get. She been waiting on it. And you're right, he did. She played him. He played himself, really. You know what I mean? But she just wanted him to come out and say it. She wanted him to confess his racism to the world. So he could be done. So, yeah. Anyway, let's continue.
Let me just ask you a blunt question. And I don't know if you can even answer it. Is the Bachelor franchise racist?
I don't like labeling people. Like, racist is a really strong word. There is implicit racism.
Would you say
Absolutely.
would you say that the Bachelor franchise has a race problem?
Absolutely. Bachelor franchise has a race problem. I think I don't know where you are. I mean, maybe you don't watch the franchise, but you got to be hiding under a rock to not realize that.
Right.
Clearly they do.
Yes.
And if you didn't think before, you thought it was over,
it's targeted
because there was a Matt James, there was a Tayshia Adams, there was a Del Moss, there's a diversity consultant team that's working with them. If you thought that minute was over, please go to Extra's YouTube page and watch the full interview with Chris Harrison.
Right, and there is a diversity issue, and those other people that she missed. See, here's the thing. Let me read this. Because I was so confused. And I was so confused, and I'm glad you are explaining it. But get him and that fake behind the pod. Oh yeah, she got him. I don't blame her. I don't blame her for what she's doing either, because they wronged her. They embarrassed her in front of the world, and she wanted to embarrass them back in front of the world, and that's what she's doing. And that's why she is speaking out the way that she's speaking out, because her sole purpose for dealing with Bachelor Nation all of these years was simply to get her revenge. And that's what I'm fought for. Hey, I'm here for it. Okay. And so, but clearly they have a diversity problem. There's only been, and then Rachel Lindsay, I went back and checked. She is the only black person that has appeared on The Bachelor. All these other people, Tayshia Adams, this Del Moss guy, this Matt James, this the current black bachelor, the first black male bachelor. All of these people are biracial. Rachel Lindsay here, she is the only ADOS black person that has been on the Bachelor franchise. She's the only black person that's ever been a black bachelor or bachelorette. Everybody else is biracial. Do you see what I'm saying? So there clearly is a diversity problem. They're even being disingenuous when they say that Matt James, well, they're really being American, because we all know about the 1 drop rule, 1 drop of black in you in the United States of America. They consider you to be a black person, right? Even though his mom is black and his daddy is African, he is not ADOS. Okay, like Barack Obama, his daddy is African and his mom was white, right? He is not ADOS. Rachel Lindsay is the only ADOS person to have been highlighted on this show. So clearly that's a diversity issue. You know what I mean? They're even being disingenuous when they're calling Matt Barnes the first black male bachelor, because he is the first male biracial lead bachelor in a franchise. Okay? And so that's ingenuous as well, in my opinion. And so, yeah. Anyway, let's continue.
It's not edited. We played it in full because we couldn't break it down, and we didn't want to be accused, because there's a part in there where he's like, I don't know how this is going to be chopped up. It ain't. That's it.
Okay, before we get to the next thing, we have to bring something up.
What?
This is probably going to become part of the show. This is real time, 4:02 p.m. Rachael Kirkconnell, is that how you pronounce it?
She apologized. I knew this was coming.
She posted on Instagram. It's actually, as these apologies go.
Yeah, Rachel KKK apologized.
I'm going to read it to you guys.
Okay, all right. So breaking news, as we're doing this, we're so mad today. It's a mad-ass podcast. As we're doing this, Rachael Kirkconnell has apologized. All right? Jackson, would you like to read her apology?
Sure. From Rachael Kirkconnell in a written statement on Instagram. Not on her Instagram story, mind you, Rach. Better than
that's improvement.
While there have been rumors circulating, there have also been truths that have come to light that I need to address. I hear you, and I'm here to say I was wrong. At one point, I didn't recognize how offensive and racist my actions were. That doesn't excuse them. My age or when it happened does not excuse anything. They are not acceptable or okay in any sense. I was ignorant, but my ignorance was racist. I'm sorry to the communities and individuals that my actions harmed and offended. I'm ashamed about my lack of education, but it is no one's responsibility to educate me. I am learning and will continue to learn how to be anti-racist because it's important to speak up in the moment and not after you're called out. If you're a person who doesn't understand the offense in question, I urge you to learn from my mistakes and encourage you to use them as a teachable moment. As for my family, I love them and how they raised me to be my own individual. They've always encouraged me to have my own views, opinions, and beliefs.
Wow.
As I was thinking about what I wanted to say, I couldn't help but think about how sick people must be of reading these kinds of statements, how a person didn't realize the trauma that their actions would inflict on the other people. It must get so exhausting. I want to put my energy towards preventing people from making the same offensive mistakes that I made in the first place, and I hope I can prove this to you moving forward. Racial progress and unity are impossible without white accountability, and I deserve to be held accountable for my actions. I will never grow unless I recognize what I have done is wrong. I don't think one apology means that I deserve your forgiveness, but rather, I hope I can earn your forgiveness through my future actions. End of statement.
Sure. And so that is what Rachael KKK, that was her apology after 6 or 7 weeks of knowing that this stuff was out there. That was her apology that she posted on Instagram after all. And I like I said, I think she won too, the Bachelorette. So you saying you didn't know that you was being racist in 2021, you was just ignorant. Okay? Now she is like 23 or something like that, 23, 24 years old. Now, you can't even say, you don't live in a bubble in this small town in Georgia, right? You are on the internet as much as anybody else, right? Now, racially insensitive, okay. But if you tell the truth, this apology is a lie. Because she knows the cultural ramifications of her actions. She knows this in 2020. This ain't like the 40s, or the 30s, or even the 50s, right? Or even the height of the civil rights movement. We are in 2021. You are 23 or 24 years old. You're not telling me that you didn't realize that telling your little white girlfriend in school, bullying your little white girlfriend in school was wrong because she wanted to date a black man. Okay, you saying you didn't realize that you was being racist when you like those pictures of your friends, standing in front of a Confederate flag. You're not saying you don't know what a plantation or a Old South plantation party represents. You're saying you didn't know what your Kappa Alpha Order sorority, where it came from. You didn't know that it was rooted in racism when your family is a Trump supporter and the spiritual leader, you said the spiritual leader of your sorority is Robert E. Lee. You didn't know the racial implications behind this. And that is what she was saying. I wasn't racist. I wasn't being racist. I was just ignorant. I didn't know what I was doing. In 2021, you didn't know what you was doing. Okay. Hey, Trenta, how you doing? Thanks for catching the replay, by the way. But that's her apology, y'all. That is what Rachael KKK said in her Instagram apology. She didn't know. And Chris Harrison said, and he about my age, but he didn't know that he was being racially insensitive. Okay? By being frustrated with everybody calling out this racism stuff, right? He did everything and said everything that he could do to protect this girl from this issue for as long as he could. Part and parcel, I believe, because Matt James, when somebody called him, Chevy Chevelle said Matt James is the whitest bachelor in 20 seasons. Okay? Even though he's touted as being the first black male bachelor. Okay? I agree with that, Chevelle, by the way. But she didn't know what she was doing, right? She didn't understand the cultural ramifications of her actions in 2021. She didn't get that. Okay, girl. Anyway, let's continue. Child.
Her statement put Chris's to shame.
She did a better job. What do you think about this?
Well,
so it took them 6 weeks to draw up this? Did it take you 6? My question for Rachael KKK would be, Rachael, it took you 6 weeks or 7 weeks to draw up this apology. Is it because you won the season of The Bachelor? Is that why it took you so long? And then she tried to say they put a muzzle on her mouth. And Rachel Lindsay came out and said, no. Did nobody stop her from speaking out sooner? Do you see what I'm saying? B6 says she claims because she was 18 years old. My 6-year-old knows that. Thank you. You saying in 2021 you didn't understand the cultural ramifications of your actions. Okay? You didn't understand this in 2021. All right, girl. All right. Anyway.
It's great that she apologized. It's great that she finally said something. I would like to remind everybody that an apology is a baby step in the right direction, but it's just an apology. We got to see it. I'm holding you to what you said. It's great that you said it. It's great that you put that out there. I'm holding you to it. I'm going to be honest, though. The other side of me doesn't care. It took you 6 weeks to address something that's been festering. 6 weeks.
Do you think that she would have apologized at this particular time had it not been from the Chris Harrison thing that happened with you earlier this week?
So it has been rumored that she was going to apologize within this week. I actually totally forgot that I was told it was going to come out today. But then, because Chris happened, the Chris situation happened. She kept hiding. She wasn't speaking, but her friends and family and other people were speaking for her, part of the problem, saying that the franchise was holding her back from apologizing.
God damn, man.
That's a lie. That's a lie. But check this out. Let's just say that's true. First of all, there is nothing in your contract that stops you from getting on your social media and doing exactly what she just did. She can't go to the media and do an exclusive sit-down interview on her own, but they don't have control over your social. So I have a huge issue with the franchise told you not to do it. You should be so outraged and enraged that people are speaking about you and calling you Rachel KKK. I've seen Confederate Rachel, all these different things that are out there in regards to you. And if those things aren't true, or if maybe there are some truths, as you said in your apology, then you should speak out. You should have put this statement out sooner. So for me, it's kind of like, okay, it's been 6 weeks, great. I'm so glad to finally see something. But it's 6 weeks. I don't really care. This shit's been out here.
Exactly.
You know what this just convinced me of?
What?
She's going to win. I tell you, I know she's going to win.
Because they protected her for too long?
No, because I could look at Matt James and tell as soon as he saw those pictures at the Old South party.
Yes.
He probably saw those even before.
Yes. Let me stop right there. Yeah, this is very... Excuse me. Now he going to talk about Matt James, right? He going to talk about this quote-unquote black man coming from a black male perspective as to how Matt James was thinking when all of this came out, when he saw those pictures about Rachel KKK. He's talking about Matt James's mentality. And I absolutely agree with this. But y'all pay attention to this. It's very interesting what he's going to say. So Chevy Survey. Rumor has it that Rachel KKK actually won. It was between her and that black girl, Michelle, the teacher. And B-Sector says ABC gave her a PR person because it is very whitewashed. It is a very whitewashed apology. And don't you also she typed this out on Instagram, but she's not done an interview. So when they're saying that Bachelor wouldn't let her apologize, it's what they're really saying is Bachelor wouldn't let her do any interviews, but she issued this apology on Instagram because she didn't have to say these things in front of the camera. Do you see what I'm saying? And so I think that is plausible. Do you see what I'm saying? And so, but still, like Rachel Lindsay say, why it take so long? Why it take 6 weeks? We've been knowing about this for over a month. A month and a half? And you just now saying something after Chris Harrison's interview? You're just now putting this out? Do you see what I'm saying? It's crazy. Price, yeah. This is why I don't care for their apologies. Absolutely, let's be real. They are disingenuous and flippant. Yes, they are. I prefer to see their accountability through a change in attitude through the actions. You're right about that. And then, like I said, if she did in fact win the Bachelor, if Matt James did apologize to her, is this why she's out of this secretive? If that's why all of this secret stuff is going on, because he did in fact pick her. And why did he pick her? And we all know that just because you like black eggplant emoji, it don't mean you like black people. And do she really even like black eggplant emoji? Do you see what I'm saying? Because of her racist past, or did she, go with her for some other reason? Because do I think that she really fell for Matt James? No, I do not. via her history, based on her history. You see what I'm saying? So no, I do not. Do I think that they sabotaged this season? No, I don't. Because I think they knew what he was going to do. Okay, because they have profiles on these people. They have psychological profiles on their people. They knew how he was going to move. They knew that if they put somebody up there like Rachael KKK, he was going to make a beeline for Rachael KKK based on his history, based on his psychology, okay, based on, you know, his experiences as being a black man in the United States of America, based on the fact that he was raised in the South with a white mama, okay? So they knew how this was going to play out, all right? But what they didn't expect was Rachel Lindsay. That's what they didn't expect, you know? So let's listen to what Van Lathan says about Matt James's psyche. Y'all pay attention to this because I absolutely agree with what he's going to say about this fool, okay? So, child, let's continue.
Matt James is alley.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
Matt James, he looks like he's so into race play. Have you ever seen race play? You ever seen it?
Yes, I have.
Well, the question would then be, why have you seen it?
No.
Yeah.
The
okay.
actual.
Now I have to hit the one if you know what race play is. Hit the one if you know what it is. Hit the two if you don't know what race play is before we go any further with this commentary, because this delves into Matt James's psyche, and I absolutely agree with Van Lathan with what he's saying about this guy. And now if Rachel would have said this about Matt James, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, yeah, you know, you got a point. But because this is one black man dissecting the psychology behind what Matt James is doing, it holds a lot of weight. You don't know what it is, QT1 or Trenta? Race play is like, I know you guys have heard of the BDSM world, right? So there are certain things that people do in the world of BDSM in particular. And some people like to dress up in furry fur costumes, and they call them fairies, and they like to have relations while wearing the fur costumes. We know that traditional BDSM is about the bondage and the masochism or the sadism. You know, people like to be, you know, hit with objects like belts and whips and chained up against the walls, and that's traditional BDSM, right? But there are several certain sub BDSM types of play, and race play is one of those forms of BDSM. It's like you like to be you know, degraded because you hate yourself so much that, you know, you're like to say you're a black person and you're going to a plantation party, right? So if you're a black person and you're going to a plantation party, what are you going to do? You're going to dress up as a slave, okay? That is called race play, all right? You like to be denigrated you hate your blackness so much that you want to be denigrated based on the color of your skin and or your ancestry. And when he's talking about race play, this is what he's talking about, okay? And there's a whole subculture of black people that willingly sign up to be treated as slaves, to be treated inhumanly, you know, based on this type of fetish right here. They want to dress up like slaves and be whipped or you know, just whatever race play entails. That's how they want to be treated. And that is what he's talking about when he says race play. Kraus said, I saw that furry sting play out on an episode of Cheetah. Right, Klaus? You know, a lot of people are into a whole lot of weird things. You got a lot of people when it comes to the BDSM world, they feel so bad about themselves. They want you to treat them like they are like you are like you get on all fours, you get on all your own fours, and you crawl around. And they put a dog collar on you, and they make you eat and drink out of a dog bowl, you know, and it's just like a whole lot of weird mental illness going on when it comes to things like race play and BDSM, you know, and all of this and all of that. And but when they're talking about race play, this is what they're talking about. And so anyway, let's continue.
Play. You're talking about the play?
No, you're talking about slave play.
I'm thinking of slave play.
You saw slave play. Shout out to Jeremy. Jeremy Harris, slave play.
No,
slave
I haven't. I haven't seen it. I just know all about it.
No, I'm talking about race play.
But
like
I know what race play is.
Yes. It seems like it's taking a long time to explain it to you.
No, because I thought you meant slave play, like the act that play.
So no, you didn't, Rachel. No, you knew exactly what he was talking about.
Blacked.com. Blacked.
Really?
LACKED.com. It's great. So, but I can tell you right now, that's actually kind of reverse race play. I can tell you right now, Matt James was like, he's down for some race play.
Okay,
so I probably saw that and went, oh my God.
I will tell you that he didn't know about it while he was filming.
Call me Buck.
Stop.
Call me Buck.
Listen.
Call me. How come they always gave the slaves fucked up names? Like, it was like, it was like, there was never like a van. It was always Buck. Samson.
How do you know what all their names were?
Because I watched the movies.
Toby.
You know what I mean? Toby is light work. Toby is light work. That kind of fucked me up with Tobey Maguire for a long time.
Because you thought of Roots?
Yeah. Every time I thought about him, thought about Roots.
So every time you heard the name Toby.
Every time I heard the name Tobey Maguire, it's like all of a sudden, like here on the Tonight Show.
Let me read it, but that's right. That's it exactly. Let's be real. People dressing up as slaves and whipped by massa or locked in slave pens for days, etc. Utter humiliation. You're right about that. And so when he's saying that Matt James looks like he's in a race play, I absolutely agree with that. Because I watched the episode of the show. I mean, this is real goofy. He's just a real goofy looking guy. Like the self-hate is written all over his face. I'm like, ugh. So they slapped this Rachel KKK in front of his face. And of course he's going to make a beeline for her. Of course he is. It was a whole setup. That's why I call it scripted reality. Self-hate is just as fatal as cancer. That's right, Cloud. I agree. A-Class said, wow. But so when he's saying that Matt James looked like he's in a race play or slave play, that's what he means by that. Exactly what Let's Be Real said. That's why he made a beeline for this Rachel KKK. That's why he did that interview saying that he don't want to be pressured into choosing a black woman as his bride on his season of the Bachelor. Do you see what I'm saying? And he could have went forever without saying, I don't want to be pressured into choosing a black woman. When you're coming on a franchise and you're allowing them to dub you the first black male bachelor, when you're coming on a franchise and you're letting them title you that way, that implies that there's something wrong with you right there. When Rachel Lindsay came on there, and I don't know what her deal with the first black bachelorette. Do you see what I'm saying? Why would you go anywhere and feel like they have to single you out? Aren't you feeling used? You know, at the sheer title that they're giving you? Why would any black person subject themselves to anything like this? That implies some level of self-hate to me. Because if you can't celebrate me for me, then I ain't got no business being there. If you have to single out or highlight the fact that I am black, like I'm some token Negro, then that means I don't need to be there. You know, and I think that says a lot about Rachel Lindsay and Matt James, to be quite honest with you. You know, and so, yeah, I really do. Let's Be Real says, or can it be all that Mandingo BS like the film? That too. Let's be real. That too. All of that. You have to realize how much dysfunction that surrounds some people when it comes to the color of their skin. And can you imagine how confusing it is if the whole world sees you as a black man, but you don't see yourself as a black man because your mama is not black, because your mama is Caucasian. You see what I'm saying? And so, yeah, it's a lot going on with that, with his psyche. But anyway, let's listen to a little bit more. We're going to close. I've been on almost 3 hours. I love this conversation, okay? Let's listen to a little bit more, child.
Toby, and I'll be like, God damn. And then Tobey Maguire will walk out like, that's not good to get there. We moved on. Anyway.
Listen, I'm glad Rachel, I'm glad she apologized. It's hard. It's been 6 weeks, so I'm a little like, it doesn't hit the same way because it's been such a long time, but good for her for making the statement. Hold her accountable. You know, in some circles, we're known as the woke police, but make sure that she does the things that she said she's going to do in her apology.
Now, let me ask you one more thing about this. Do you feel at all bad? I got to ask you this. You say that you knew she would apologize this week.
I was, let me say this. I was told last week. Wait. I was told last week that she was going to apologize. I was told this week. Wait, did I still what?
Yeah, you still lit up Chris Harrison. Chris Harrison was like a lamb to the slaughter. I've changed. I'm now on Chris Harrison.
Shut the fuck up.
See, he was like a lamb to the slaughter. Yes, he was. I agree with that.
No.
Oh my God.
She will come on at some point on Bachelor Happy Hour. And my number one question is, why the hell did it take you so long? That's my number one. Because you see, if the franchise is really holding you back, why did Chris Harrison get to apologize within 24 hours?
It's true.
I'm just saying. Gotta pay attention to these things.
Fuck you, Chris. We're going to take a break.
Yeah.
Oh, we do have one thing to talk about that's kind of funny.
Baby.
We got stood up for the first time as a
Okay.
podcast.
So, that is pretty much what Rachel, those were her true feelings, in my opinion, on this whole situation surrounding Matt James. A-Class says, I would be embarrassed. I would never subject myself to anything like that, A-Class, and I was born and raised in the South. If I have to be highlighted as the token Negro, yeah, that ain't for me. Did you say that? I don't. Yeah, no. Nope. I don't get down like that. That's why I said this whole Bachelor thing, this show, it has never been my stilo. This ain't my type of party right here. You know, and like I said, every time I have to watch something like this, it's cringeworthy to me. Okay, because my blackness, I absolutely demand it to be celebrated. Okay, I'm not no token nothing. All right, and that's just how I feel about it. And so Black Beef Sector said, I love this conversation as well. Only Miss O is intelligent enough to educate my lost mind on the subject. You're a mess. Beef Sector said exactly. But yeah, it's like I always say, y'all, it's the devil's in the details. The devil, honey, is always in the details. And like I said, the duality of Rachael Lindsay as well as Matt James is very telling to me. Do you see what I'm saying? You can lose yourself in this type of situation. I think Rachael Lindsay, her issue is, even though she is ADOS, even though her father is black, her mother is black, her father is a federal judge, and you know, I forget what her mama does. Her mama does something too, I think. But anyway, she's grown up in a world of privilege. Okay? And so she really has like the common everyday hard working black family. Do you see what I'm saying? As you know, we know that when we are amongst ourselves, just like as Caucasians, when they're amongst themselves, you know, you have certain conversations that are culturally appropriate for your setting in your family, right? And so I think that perhaps because Rachael Lindsay grew up in this world of privilege, when she I get, what do you call it, audition to be on The Bachelor, sending her tape to be on Nick Vial's show. I think that is absolutely possible that she possibly has never even dated a black man at all, you know, because she grew up in a world of privilege. And if she did, she didn't have a good experience with him. Do you see what I'm saying? Before we go, but it speaks to her psyche. And as far as Matt James go, he got that whole, it's a whole lot going on with that dude. But in my opinion, he looks like he down with race play too, or slave play too. You know, because he probably hated himself. He probably hated his mama. He probably hated his daddy. He said that they grew up in a broken home. You know, they're saying his dad wasn't there. So he had no, you know, reference when it come to being a black man in the United States of America. And even if his dad was in the house, he was African born. So there's still not enough knowledge surrounding him, not enough knowledge to where it would equip him with learning how to deal with being a black man in the United States of America. Do you see what I'm saying? All of his friends are Caucasian. Do you say, you know, but he's still getting this nigga wake up call. it's just like a lot going on with this dude. It's real unfortunate. He said on the show right here, he had never been in love before, and all of this and all of that there. There's a lot going on with this. But like I said, the whole thing is cringeworthy. But there are so many conversations that you can have about Rachael Lindsay as well as Matt James when it comes to this Bachelor Nation franchise. So where it's a lot. Okay. But before we go, I want you guys to hear what Rachael Lindsay said about her time on as being the first quote unquote black bachelorette. Let's listen to real quick. And thank you guys for staying with me out this time. Like I said, honey, I am flattered. I love these intimate conversations, right? The word woke really, yeah, you know what I mean? The word woke. Why do you have to, well, we white people are woke now. We weren't woke a year ago. We weren't woke in 2018. Okay. And we even to this day have to deal with the trauma of slavery. Okay. It is the horrific trauma that our ancestors endured. We have to deal with the fact that it was so horrible and inhumane that it was encoded in our DNA. Okay? But even though we've had to endure all of that, we're just now getting woke in 2021. The woke police only are just now rearing their heads to hold Caucasians accountable for this racist, this white supremacy racist mindset, this privileged mindset. We're just not getting woke to this. Okay? It's to the point to where we got a whole ex-president that they are afraid of this crazy old Donald Trump to the point to where they wouldn't convict him of pretty much insurrection. Okay? They found him not guilty in an impeachment trial. I know you guys, I'm so mad about that, I still can't speak about it. Now, I'm going to stop right there. They are cowards, okay? I said a long time ago that before this country ever admits to its original sin, they will burn it to the ground, okay? And we're seeing that play. I can't believe I'm watching this play out in front of my eyes in 2020. But we are seeing the downfall because this country fails to be held accountable for all of this that's going on. And this story right here is a perfect example of this, in my opinion. It came at the right time. It merges Black history with a whole lot of other stuff, okay? With the diversity issues we're still plagued with in this country, this racist mentality that has been taught and passed down to the Caucasians from generation to generation. I mean, they still have a freaking plantation slave parties and stuff. Okay. And so, yeah, there's a lot going on. But anyway, via Black History Month, I felt like this conversation was absolutely appropriate on a whole lot of levels. Hit the one if y'all think this conversation is appropriate. Okay, these conversations are never popular, especially over here, but it's entertainment for me. What about y'all? Okay. Anyway, while you guys decide that, I'm going to let you guys listen to just a little bit of what Rachael Lindsay had to say a year ago about her time as being the first Black Bachelorette. This is what she had to say about that whole experience. Just a little bit of it, okay? And then we're going to get out of here because, baby, we've been on her for a while. But I really want y'all to hear what Rachael Lindsay had to say about her time. This is why Rachael Lindsay was scorned. This is why Rachael Lindsay bided her time so she could pay back the whole Bachelor Nation. And now, like she said, she tired of her, she can move on because she done got her payback. But it's the whole duality for me. It's Rachel, girl, Rachel. I'm glad you got your payback, but girl. Well, in my opinion, he does have his own party, A-Class. It's called the Make America Great Again party. Okay? They're forcing the interracial relationship on us so we won't think it is still racism. Every commercial got a mixed race cup. That's right, Beef Sector Public Defender. You're right about that. You are absolutely right about that. That's why you have to be sure to educate your children to the realities of the situation. Okay? So that they won't get caught slipping. Because eventually, if you live long enough as a black in your melanated skin in the United States of America, no matter your upbringing, no matter your socioeconomic status, eventually you're going to get your nigga wake up call. Okay? I'm just saying. That's just what's going to happen. All right? But I'm here for Rachel getting her payback. I'm out here for it. All right? Because it's a good one. Anyway, let's listen to what Rachel says about when she was the first black bachelorette. Okay? Let's listen to how she felt about, how she was portrayed on her show in 2017. Okay? Hold on. Oh, Lord, I know a commercial going to pop up. Hold on, y'all.
Hey there.
I knew it. Hold on. Let me let the dang old commercial play out. Then I turn it back up, child. Y'all know how they go. Okay, let's see here. Okay, hold on. Skip the ad. Boop. Okay, so this is what Rachel had to say a year ago about being on about her time as the Bachelorette. Okay.
And I'm watching our breakup and watching how it's edited. And then they had me do the same thing with Peter, which I knew it was an emotional breakup, and I had already told Brian about it.
Okay, now hold on. Peter Kraus is the guy that I was talking about at the top of the show. Peter Kraus is the Caucasian that played Rachel. He never wanted to be with Rachel. He simply came on the show and played her, and strung her along because he wanted to be the Bachelor. He said that since high school he had wanted to be the Bachelor, and so he strung her along and all this and all that. This is what she's going to talk about, right?
You're going to have a hard time watching it. It was very real, but I can always say that in the moment I gave it my all, and I saw everything through. What they didn't show you is that I walked in going to send him home that night, but we had maybe a 5-hour breakup. I am not even exaggerating.
Wow. Why so long?
It was like he wanted to keep talking. He wanted me to stay the night. He wanted, it was hard for me to say goodbye too.
Of course.
You wanted to see the whole thing through, talk everything out, have that closure conversation. Because for me, I knew it was going to be it. So it's like I wanted to talk it out. And then he was revealing new feelings to me in this conversation. I wasn't ready for that. I always have said he reminds me of the guys that I dated before, and just giving me just a little bit to stay along in the relationship. And so I was fighting that old me versus what I knew was right for me. And it was a tough breakup, and I've never denied it. Well, anyways, I have to watch all this on stage for the first time. Then he comes out, and Chris Harrison says to me things like, and he had this infamous line of saying, well, if you don't choose me, you're going to live a mediocre life. Right. I forgot he said that. It was 3 months ago. So I'm watching it and I'm boiling. I'm like, he did say that to me, the audacity to say that.
Yeah.
So Chris Harrison says to me, you seem angry. Okay, I was mad about that because that's just, I hadn't raised my voice. I hadn't rolled my eyes. I hadn't done anything. And it's just you can't say that, honestly, to a Black woman, because then you're going to be labeled as the angry Black female.
Right.
Which I was after that. Everybody talked about how angry and bitter I was. Then Peter comes and says, then I say, oh, well, you said I was living a mediocre life. I'm actually living my best life. And I flip my hair and turn to the side. So when we come back from commercial, Peter goes, I feel like you attacked me. That's all I said. Social media ran with it. Articles. Rachel attacked him. Oh, she's still upset. She's still bitter. That's who she wanted. She only wanted a ring. That's why it was everything the way it was set up, the questions that I was asked. It was a nightmare when it should have been the happiest day of my life.
Right, I see.
And people were so fixated, and our breakup was longer than my proposal and engagement airtime with Brian. So the whole thing, the whole drama was my breakup, and that's all they focused on. Fast forward to Becca's season, who I was so happy for. I was on her season. I was rooting for her.
Yes.
I like Becca. I still do to this day. I just think she's just a genuine, great person.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, she had controversy surrounding her season with the guy she picked and him liking certain pictures. And there was this whole thing about it. They didn't even really focus on that. They asked him 2 questions and they moved on. You might not have agreed with her pick, but you saw the progression of her love story and you understood it. I didn't get that with Brian.
Mhm.
They focused more on my relationship with Peter, my number 2. I was upset about that. Becca also didn't sit on stage for 3 hours and get grilled and was put on like display that entire time. She got to hide behind the back, which is what you see now, and only was brought out at certain moments. So I was very upset about that. So after watching Becca's season, it almost made me emotional. And I just put pen to the paper, and I was blogging for Us Weekly at the time, and I just wrote about the Bachelor franchise and do they care about you having a happy ending? For some people they do, for some they don't. And then I talked about all the feelings that I felt that day that I had never expressed before. One, because I was out of contract, and so now I can voice that opinion. And I talked about being labeled an angry Black female, being put on display for 3 hours. No one else had to do that. The jabs that were thrown at me, not because my dress looked a certain way, not because I wore my hair or my makeup, because of the color of my skin. Yeah. And I talked about that and how nobody has gone through that to this point. And I don't know if they ever will, because they haven't had another lead of color, period. And so since then, I've just kind of taken a step back from the franchise. And I'm not anti it, because I did find love, and that is the goal. But I don't want to put myself in a position where I can be cut and pasted in a certain way for people
television.
Yes.
For dramatic television.
Yeah.
Which is what they were doing.
Yeah, and I understand all of that, but to see it not happen with other people in the way that it happened with me was very, very upsetting. When, sad to say, you have to be sensitive about certain things because of the way people think, and because this was an audience that had never seen a person of color in this role before. And they played into certain stereotypes that were really upsetting to me.
It could have been great, and they blew it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To this day, people still question, even with what happened in Colton and Cassie's season, people are still tweeting at me and messaging me and saying, well, at least Colton followed his heart, unlike you followed a ring, because of how it was shown on the show.
I don't understand. Like, they thought you liked that ring better or something?
They thought all I wanted to do was be engaged, and that's how the show showed it.
But if you only wanted to be engaged, then you could have chosen Peter.
Well, no, but Peter pulled a little
that's
Cassie.
Right. Oh, yeah.
He got a little, like,
he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready. That's right.
And so they're like, well, if that's who.
Then why did he take so long to break up? Like, if he wasn't ready.
Well, he actually said, I'll propose to you if that's what you want.
Right.
But nobody heard that, and it was aired, and I still said no. One, because he wasn't what I wanted, and and even if he was, that wouldn't be the way that I wanted it. So it just was like, now I'm getting compared to like that season 2.
Right.
It's like people won't let it go, and it's all because of how it was aired. When all I wanted to do was send him home, because I didn't think it was right for him to be standing up there at the end when I knew what I was going to do.
And you knew from day one that it was Brian, but the edit didn't show that. Like, and I even remember being like, who's Brian? You know, you probably didn't even realize who Brian was until you had 5 people left, because they just didn't give him the airtime.
They didn't build it.
And Hannah G, I was pretty proud of her the other day, because she was like, and now I've realized that my edit didn't really, you guys don't.
Okay, so that is why Rachel wanted her revenge. Do you see what I'm saying? And so she just told you how she felt, like they put her on display as a Black woman. The only thing they highlighted was the drama between her and Peter Kraus. Peter Kraus used her. I think it is only because Rachael Lindsay, no matter what Peter Kraus says, it is because Rachael Lindsay that he didn't get his chance to be the Bachelor. Because Rachael was very vocal on how she was treated when she was the Bachelorette, the first quote-unquote Black Bachelorette, and she's even vocal, right to this day. And like I said, I really believe that's why she wanted her revenge. I really believe that. And so I just want you guys to hear that. So I'm going to get off of here, because we have been on this subject long enough. But in the intro of but as it pertains to Black History Month, and yesterday being Valentine's Day, and entertainment, and us having other discussions as well as this discussion, I felt like this was absolutely this was an appropriate conversation. Do you see what I'm saying? And so and I'm looking at this thing going down my stream to where it says Chris Harrison is returning in March of 2021. So next month he coming back anyway. He coming back and it's just like he made his apology. And they're not, we know that they're not going to let Chris Harrison go. So now he's gonna return to filming. I guess he's gonna do the final roles thing. So we're gonna have to see. I would very much interested in seeing what's gonna happen between Matt James and this Rachael KKK, maybe even Rachel Lindsay, if they even bring Rachel Lindsay up. It's really going to be interesting how they are going to try to explain this away. And so we're going to have to look at that, So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much. If you stuck with me this whole time, Cloud and everybody else, if you stuck with me this whole time, thank you so much for joining me. I had fun doing this, okay? And I'm going to get out here and we're going to talk again. You guys have a nice day. Have a nice rest of your day. Have a nice rest of your work week. Please hit the like button on your way out the door. I love these intimate conversations that we have. I don't get to have these types of conversations as much anymore. It's just like for a whole lot of reasons. But anyway, honey, I gotta go. You have a great day too, QT1. You welcome B Sector. You have a great day too. Let's be real. You're welcome A Class. And I'm gonna talk to you guys later. Love you guys. Be safe out there. Okay. Bye-bye. Peace.